Wakanda forever!
I'm Renee Noor, model, creative director, founder of Global Women Wealth Warriors, Wellness Hub, and GW3 magazine. I dedicated my life and devoted my career into helping women and girls to achieving their goals. I've been passionate about empowering women and enriching men. This opportunity in working with the Global Women Wealth Warriors have afforded me the pleasure of traveling outside of the country to be a support unit, most importantly, to help impact and change lives. Our ultimate purpose is to help others to become whole from finance, spiritual, mental, as well as physical. We know there are challenges and obstacles to get you to the next level. However, it's time for you to level up, boss up, and welcome to Power to Soar. Welcome, and welcome to GW3 Live. My name is Renee Noor, and it gives me a great honor and a privilege to be here this evening. Not only is it Business Life Lessons After Dark, it is still Winning Wednesdays, and I pray that wherever you may be in the world, that you have that winning attitude and that winning spirit. Yes, the Global Women Wealth Warriors is so proud to be with you Wednesday nights from 6 to 9 p.m. Not only do we talk about real life experiences, we also focus on what's taking place in real estate as well as relationships. If you have been able to learn so much in regarding to what it is that we're doing as not only a community, we want to make sure that you tune into us every Wednesday, 6 o'clock to 9 p.m. Also, you can find us in the clubhouse from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What's so great about what we have been able to do with the information from the clubhouse, we've been able to impact and change lives globally. You know, the app has been not only a powerful tool to bring us all together, but it also has been a powerful tool to really help to restore, rebuild, as well as replenish relationships. We are the Global Women Wealth Warriors, and as we build out relationships, it's all about how we bridge that financial literacy gap with health, and also we bridge the gap with wellness. So again, we bring about change through those components. Wonderful to say that we have amazing leaders from all over the globe that brings information, so therefore it can help you not only educate you, but it also gives you the opportunity to win. And since it's Winning Wednesday, I have one of my powerful house players, Miss Malika Starr, that's going to be joining us with this evening. If you haven't already followed us on YouTube, alongside with inside of the clubhouse, even on our Facebook, we encourage you to do so. Malika Starr, she is just that. She is an amazing star. She's rocking the universe with her energy, and it brings me so much great. I'm very happy to be able to bring her here with us this evening. Malika is a beautiful mother. Not only she's a beautiful mother, she's an author, a published author, self-published author, and she's our in-house publishing house as well. That's wonderful when you're able to impact within the community to restore and rebuild others. So without further ado, I'm going to bring the lady herself, the dynamite superstar. I love that name, Malika Starr. Where are you, beautiful? How are you doing? And come on here. We want to see that beautiful face. Let's bring you up on the stage. There you are. Hey,
Hey,
gorgeous. How are you?
hey, Renee, how are you? It is amazing to see you. Thank you so much for what you do. I feel like we are nonstop with the Global Women Wealth Warriors, and I feel like we are just on fire for such a great cause to empower men and women and the youth. And you are nonstop, Renee, with all that you do in order to empower us, enlighten us, and to make sure that we are winning on purpose.
I love
That
it.
is what
Yeah,
I love most about being a global women wealth warrior, is that we're winning on
absolutely.
purpose.
I love it. I love it. What I want to do, Miss Malika, because we're going to have this deep conversation. And because we're going to have this deep conversation, we want everyone to see our interaction. And, I'm just so proud of you, Malika Starr. Not only did you come through the DMV, but you came through the DMV to Atlanta blazing. I am proud of you, my friend. Thank you for being able to just really, not only did you pivot, you did a leap of faith, and now you are here in Atlanta. Oh, I love it. I love
Oh
it.
my
I love it. You're
goodness.
here in Atlanta.
Yes, leaps of faith are amazing. I want to tell everyone, oh, if you could just please, like, don't be afraid to live your best life, because you never know what's on the other side of the rainbow. It could be your pot of gold. And I want to say, since I've been here in Atlanta, it has been the most uplifting. And I worried a little bit if Atlanta would be as good to me as the DMV was. And big shout out to all my friends and family that I left behind in the Washington, Maryland, Northern Virginia area. But I want to tell you that this Southern hospitality, whoo, it is good. I'm a peach. I said my tags are gonna say NJMD peach. That's it right there. I started in New Jersey. I came here and now I'm here. I was in the DMV area in Maryland, and then I'm now a peach. So this has been wonderful. And it's great because I was able to connect with you through Clubhouse before I even got here. And you've kept me nonstop since I've got here.
It's been pretty remarkable, just to hear your story alone, Malika, but also being able to just make that transition, pivot into a new space. But as I share with everyone, you haven't stopped, young lady. You have just kept moving. The Clubhouse have definitely been one of the most incredible apps that have provided us with the opportunity to not only really do a deeper dive with good relationships, but we're building quality relationships. Quality relationships. And as I watch you evolve as well as transform into this superwoman that you are, I want to know, what are your secrets? Because you're not only a mother, you're a mother of four. And my goodness, you are just looking so incredible. What are some of your secrets? Please let us know. We have to know those beauty secrets.
First of all, let's correct. I'm a mother of six because I got two bonus
Ooh,
kids that I still maintain relationships with them now. They were actually my students when I used to teach in Newark, New Jersey. And I actually wind up officially adopting one of them, but the other one we still adopted in the spirit. And to this day, they are my children. And because of them, I've got six grandchildren as well as my own natural grandchild. So I'm a grandmother of one naturally, and then I've got five other grandchildren and got one on the way, honey.
Oh,
Yes. So I
I
want
just
to
love it.
say, believe it or not, now in life, I eat more junk food now than I've ever done. But early on, we had an early start. My mom was always conscious about what we put in our bodies. I want to say, drink the water. My coaches get on me all the time about drinking water, but it really does hydrate you. But I didn't drink a lot of sodas when I was growing up, and it kept my skin healthy. Like I didn't have a lot of the acne that most teenagers have. My mom didn't feed us a lot of raw sugars or anything like, I mean, well, I eat raw sugar now, but we didn't have a lot of processed sugars and processed foods growing up. We ate from whatever came from the backyard garden or what was fresh from the grocery store. And so she fed us fairly healthy, which gave me a great start because I'm 52. I don't have diabetes, high blood pressure, um, high cholesterol, or any of those factors. I have started working out. So those are some of the things I do. I slack off a little bit. I have become these Lay's barbecue potato chips. Oh, Jesus.
Not the Lay's
Not the
barbecue potato
Lay's
chips.
barbecue potato chips, honey. You
That
got to
used to
run
be
an
my
extra
weakness
block
also.
after you eat some of those, right?
Yes, that used to be my weakness also. The Lay's barbecue potato chips. There's nothing like Lay's barbecue potato chips. I think that must be something from the South, babe,
I
because
think it
those,
is.
ooh, and it's so good, so good. You know, I'm grateful that you've been able to not only continue on keeping the family together, you've also been able to help your family win in this whole transformation, even with the pandemic, because we know a lot of the kids have to go through some of those. They had to adjust majorly during this time as well. They were so used to being with their family. I mean, they were so used to being with schoolmates, and now they had to spend more quality time at home with their family. And I must say, meeting your kids, it has just truly been I mean, it's just been a great opportunity because they're so well respected. They are so polite. And my goodness, you are doing it up, girl. You are doing it up. I want to ask this question for you, Malika, because right now we know in the real life world, as mothers are evolving, why is it so important to really focus on becoming an entrepreneur? I know what we were able to see during this pandemic, a lot of people had to do a huge shift. They weren't able to go back into the office. They were not able to do some of the things they were normal, used to doing. And what I realized, and I think that's what the world realized, that it helped to create more entrepreneurs in that short window of time than ever before. How important is that, especially for women thriving in their power? You know, we always want to uplift women. How important is that for us to also encourage more women to get into that space? Please, Malika, take it away.
Well, definitely, I have been blessed, and I really want to say just blessed, but I actually manifested. I was able to manifest my work from home spaces. So I am employed to work from home, and I'm grateful for my employer that employs me to work from home while I still have an opportunity to build my businesses. So, I would say that you have the power to manifest your goals, your dreams, and your desires. And so I needed to be, I have a great friend. Her name is BJ, the DJ. So I just want to give her a shout out. She's a pajama pro, and she says you can still earn income and still be present with your family. And I was telling my significant other that, listen, I really think I like being home when my children get home from school. Like they're not in anybody else's care but mine. And I appreciate this season right now as they're transitioning into junior high school and high school. It's important to be home, to be that influence, to make sure homework is getting done, to make sure they're eating right, to make sure they're not burning down the house while I'm slaving away at somebody else's field. I am a publisher and writer by passion, and I help other people get their dreams off the ground of being a published author, or getting their stories out of their heads onto paper. And in that space, I'm here to write, and I'm home. I don't have to race home and sit in hours of traffic because, as you know, here in Atlanta, I thought the DMV had a lot of traffic. No, you guys have 16 lanes of backed up traffic. I counted the lanes coming through 85. It is 16 lanes across, and I still can't understand how traffic backs up so much on 85. However, I don't have to be in traffic. I can get off of work and just shut down a couple of computers and bring up another computer and work with my clients. So I actually have a business that I really can work from home, as well as when I need to show up and have speaking engagements or anything such as that. I have the flexibility in my schedule because all I have to do is grab a couple of work computers, and then I'm off to the races and making sure that everybody is taken care of. So I would tell any woman, whatever you want, dream of, it's possible to have. I wasn't always in this space, but I had a couple of good people in my life, including my pastors, Dr. Yolanda D. Peoples and Bishop Joel R. Peoples, who always spoke. In our church, there's the word manifestation over one of the doors, which was possible that God wants us to see the good life. He says, I made that you dwell in the lands of the living, see the goodness of God, yet while you're in the land of the living. So you have the power to manifest the life you want. You just, number one, have to believe. And number two, you have to let go of the past. And once I let go of the past and I stopped being the victim and realized how victorious I was, then the doors opened up for entrepreneurship, as well as being present with my children and being present for my friends and family. So I hope that answered your question, Renee.
Absolutely, it did. And what a wonderful share, Malika. And I feel as if also that's going to be very beneficial for others that was listening. Because what Malika, not only were you able to really get focused, you were able to utilize, as we talk about being able to conceive, not only being able to conceive, having the faith to push yourself through, even when you can't really always see all the staircases that we would say, right? But when you're able to conceive a thought, push forward with it. Know that it's believing not only from your inside, but just all through your body and your soul. And just take action. You've taken action. You've been the leader in this space, especially with the GW3 family, being able to support others, by creating, from not going from storytelling, but also putting those thoughts that's been inside of people for so many years, pulling it out of them, abstracting it out of them, so now they too can have their own book. And that's one of the greatest things that we're encouraging each and every GW3 Global member, and even you, if you're listening to us on Clubhouse, if you're listening to us on Facebook as well as on YouTube, you should be not only become an author, but you know what? The library need new stories, and it's up to us to
Absolutely.
create those new stories. It's up to us to create those new stories. I know this was one of our first books that we ever read right here. This was by David Imonitie. And this book here helped to not only put things in perspective, the greatest part about conceive, believe, achieve, believing yourself, but also just making sure that whatever you have inside you, that burning, we talk about that burning desire, it's going to help you. Just make sure you keep focused on your why. We were talking about that. Create a burning desire and master the skills to win, and you work in faith. You've been doing that, Malika Starr. Not only you've been doing that, you have been showing up with your crown, and you too are a phenomenal author. And I want you to share with us, what was it like for you going into that space of becoming an author?
Well, I always wanted to be an author. I remember at 23, and I tell this story, and I don't want to. I I tell this story for a reason, because I will keep telling this story. Someone told me in the beginning that I could not do it. At 23, I sat as a mom, a single mom. I've been a mom since I was 19, and I hadn't had all the bells and accolades, but I sat and said I wanted to be a published author by the time I was 30. And I had someone say, "Shut up, dummy, you'll never do that." You know, and I'm here to say the devil is truly a liar. You cannot listen to the naysayers tell you what you can't do. You have to persevere through it. Now, I didn't become a published author at 30, but what I did do after the separation of my marriage, after the divorce, I went back to school. I finished my degree and received my bachelor's degree. And then afterwards, I sat down, and at 45, I penned Now That I Know Better. And after I penned Now That I Know Better, it was like a breath of fresh air. It was my healing, it was my truth, it was inspirational. And one of my friends wrote me back and said, "This is an inspirational autobiography." And I never thought of it that way. I just needed to tell the stories that were in my head, but that which shaped my life, it was based on my mother and my grandmother's wisdom and all the little slogans they used to tell me growing up. Like my mom used to say, "A hard head makes a soft behind." Or my grandmother would say, "Don't lay down with dogs, girl, you will get fleas." And and my mom would say, when it starts to hurt bad enough and you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of, girl, you're gonna make a change. And so I took some of those slogans that I learned from my mom and my grandmother and put them to my experiences and the lessons that I learned from those experiences. Stuff like why it is important to thine own self be true. Because when you're true to yourself, then nothing else matters. People opinions don't matter. When you know the truth, what God thinks about you, that doesn't matter. I mean, that matters everything, because now what other people say doesn't even matter. Our late great apostle wrote a book. See, in a book, she wrote "Performing for an Audience of One." And when you know that you're only performing for your creator, then you are empowered and nothing else around you matters except for that purpose that God has given you to live here on this earth to do, right? And so my goal was to tell my story. But what happened was, now I have a whole lot of other stories to tell. Once I wrote my book, people kept asking me, "Well, how did you do that? Oh, how could you show me how to do this?" And from that, Molly Star Publishing was formed, and then we started helping other people accomplish their dreams of becoming published authors. We had motivational speakers, coaches. I even was able, privileged, to do a full color cookbook. So if you have old recipes from your grandmother or your mother that's been handed down and you want to put them into a cookbook, we did a full color cookbook for Miss Sherry Rankins. I gotta give my authors a shout out, because they believed in me enough and trusted me enough to produce their dreams on paper. And Sherry Rankin then came back and not just did a cookbook, but a cookbook journal. And then Kevin Harris did The Need to Succeed, and he trusted me to produce those books for him. So altogether, Molly Star Publishing, over the last 2 years in the middle of the pandemic, produced 5 books. We even show people how to become publishers, because then if you know all the right steps to self-publishing better, you too can become a publisher. And then I've taught you how to fish instead of fishing for you. And so that is my passion. It is my baby. It is everything that I believe I was born to be. I've been storytelling since I was 12. and then I had the right mentors, teachers, and educators in place, including Renee Noor, including Bob Yates, including Teresa Royal Brown, including Dr. Yolanda Peoples, and so many other people, including having the right person by your side. My my man, whew, is a true encourager. Baby, handle your business is something he always says. So it's important to have the right people around you who believe in you, who support you, and want to see your dreams come to pass. From that, I became the dream strategist. Whatever I can do to help you get your dreams come to help your dreams come to pass, I, I, I've learned by the leaders, especially Renee Noor, because she's a dream strategist too. Every day she works hard to help global women wealth warriors and then our men global warriors see their dreams come to pass too. Thank you so much, Renee Noor, for allowing me to speak.
I absolutely love you, Malika Starr. Day one in the clubhouse, I remember that voice, and my goodness, and I dropped the mic, and I yield the mic, one or the other. You
I
definitely,
yield the
you have
mic.
always, you yield the mic, right? You've always left a lasting impression, beautiful. Yes, you have. And it's great to hear your story. And I know this is not only something that we want to hope that this can help those who are wanting to really find their voice through telling their story through books, just telling your stories, becoming an author. That's one of the things that we've given every person within our group. Not only do we want you to tell your story, but the greatest part about it, we have our very own publishing house that's going to help you to really take the time to be very intentional, but you know what, to tell the right story.
To tell the right
Well,
story.
to
And
tell,
now, not to cut you off, Renee. And
okay,
now, what the great thing is, now we're starting to show people how to do ebooks where they can tell
yeah.
micro stories while they're building their big books. So they still become published authors. They tell a little micro story until their big book comes out because writing is a process. But if you can get some of your thoughts down on paper, then we can take you to the next level and have the big book. And I'm so excited that we'll be launching that on June 1st, right here in the Global Women Wealth Warrior space in our GW3 Society. And I'm super, super excited about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't want anyone to get intimidated about telling a story. And right now is the best timing, and timing is always important as well. Right now, it is your time to start journaling out exactly how you want to have it laid out. And if you don't have all the right answers, that's why we have Malik Starr alongside with her publishing company. They're going to guide you right along the way. We're going to be having right within the GW3 room, we have so many new rollouts of rooms that's coming to you. And as Malika Starr said, June 1st, oh my goodness. We want all of those individuals. Come tell your story. Let's put a book to it. Come tell your story. Let us hear. We want to not only encourage you, we're going to help you, we're going to push you, and we're going to always elevate you, because right now that's the space that we can be in. Malika Starr, you have been giving me chills, and I know for sure this chat is blowing up. If you are enjoying this story with the one and the only, our Malika Starr, please put some blue, blue, blue hearts. Today is all about winning blue. That's right. Put some blue, blue hearts in the chat. Also in the clubhouse, please put blue hearts in the clubhouse alongside with, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. And I want to say this too, guys. I want you to follow Malika Starr. She's doing some amazing things with her family as well. One of the greatest things that we're doing, we're not only helping you to understand, you may think you're average, but we're going to help you to create that extraordinary about you, because each one of you all have your own unique story, and your
Absolutely.
story needs to be told. We need to probably turn some of these stories into movies. I already know 3 of them that I know needs to become a movie. So we're going to
Absolutely.
encourage you. We're going to encourage you. We're not going to push you down. We're not going to tell you what you can't do. We're going to make sure we give you your wings so you can soar and you can go head on into your greatness, because we want you to win. It's all about winning Wednesday, and this is your season. Truly,
It
this is your
is.
season.
And you know the powerful thing about books? You get to learn from me in maybe a couple of hours what it took me a lifetime to learn. My bishop used to say that all the time. If you open your mouth, if you open your mind to reading, you learn in a few minutes, in a few hours, what it took that author a lifetime to learn. And now you know better. And once you know better, now that I know better, once you know better, the world is your oyster because then you can live better, you can have better, whatever your better is. You can think better, you can make better decisions for your life, for your children's lives, for your family's lives, for your marriage. I'm not going to sit here and say I live this perfect life, but my life is better. It's better than it was 10 years ago. And sometimes I feel like it's better than it was 10 minutes ago because I've been able to share some of my experiences with you and help you grow and help you change your mindset about what your life could be. Because everyone knows, I say all the time, I'm not the super saint, I'm not perfect, but I've learned to be a little bit more excellent in where how I show up and who I surround myself with and those choices that I make in life so that I'm not just making an impact in my life, but I can make an impact in your life as well. So that's all I really have to say. Unless Renee Noor, she always has a lot of great questions to ask. So,
You don't get
you
off that
know,
easy, sweetheart. You don't get off that easy. You know why? Because we're going to give our viewers some work to do. We're going to give them an assignment. That's right. Right now, we're already wrapping up for the first quarter. That's right. This is, well, no, we're already going into the second quarter, guys. 6 more months is what we're looking for. Next thing you know, the year is going to be over with. So we're here finishing up May. And we already said it's time for us to take a revisit with those storyboards that we created last year in December. I need for you all to understand how intentional we are. Every person out there with the GW3 Club, it's time for you to start looking at your storyboard. Where are you based upon your goals? If you haven't set your goals, it's time to do what? Laser in and get focused. So we're going to be throwing our storyboard update. That's right. We're going to be having another storyboard update so we can not only hold you accountable for what you say you're going to do, we're going to be your accountability partners so therefore you are reaching your goals. So, Malika, we talked about a date. What is that date that we have set aside for our storyboard update?
so on May 21st, which is a Saturday, we are going to host a Zoom storyboard party on Zoom, and we're going to go through our strategies. What was that we designed for ourselves, and how we can, as a team, help you manifest it. I'm not the only publisher in our group. We also have a great marketing expert. Like once you get your book written, we have a team in place to help you market it. We have a team in place to help you get on TV or radio or be able to market your book, because what's the sense of writing a good book if nobody knows about it, right? So we're going to look at what your vision looks like. Did you get your passport? Are you ready to travel? It takes so long to get your passport now. So did you get your passport? If you have a dream of being in the movies, have you taken any acting classes, live or virtually? If that is your passion and that is what you want to do. Also, we're gearing up and we're planning, right, Renee? We're planning to have a live photo shoot where you can come and get professional pictures taken so that you come out looking award winning and 7 stars, because we're a 7-star brand. We want you to show up 7-star quality. And so we are putting together all these teams to help you. So mark your calendar for May 22nd. Go to the Global Women Wealth Warriors.com page and sign up so that when the Zoom link goes out, you will have that information. So that is one of the ways.
Absolutely.
Or you can go to meetreneenoor.com and see her
Yep.
10K card. And right, right. Or if you go to malikastar.com, I'm a global women wealth warrior. And if you want to know how to get these great 10K cards, if you scroll down to the bottom of my page on meetmalikastar.com, there will be an affiliate, there will be a link where you can sign up and you can get your own personal 10K card so that you don't have to carry business cards anymore and that you can be able to just put up a URL and people will know how to find you. And so,
Let's,
anyway, if you
yeah.
follow any one of the meetus.coms, you'll be able to sign up for Global Women Wealth Warriors and you'll be able to get the news, the information about where we're going to meet and our strategies. And we're going to do this virtually. So you don't have to fly anywhere. We can do this anywhere in the world. It is a Zoom, and we are going to get our visions to come to pass.
I love what you said there. You know, guys, we're going to rehash it. First thing, on May 22nd, not only we're going to have our Glenn Rudin, that's going to be a part, that's also going to be helping us to clarity. It's about clarity with your story. He is our messenger coach. So we're going to work alongside with getting your message out with clarity. The second thing we're going to do, we're going to also revisit your vision boards. Get focused. We're revisiting the vision boards. We want to know where you are. Every day you're journaling, you're keeping up with your activities, as well as you're putting into place what it is that you say you're going to do. The end of the year will be here before you know it. And not only will the end of the year be here before you know it, we're right now on countdown, guys. We're on a countdown of exactly what it is that we're going to accomplish by the end of 2022. We need to know, what are you becoming? We want you to be able to tell us exactly how do you see yourself in December. And with that, we're going to be in the moment. We're going to make sure we're in the moment, but we're flourishing to the future as well. Glenn Rudin is going to make sure you have a clarity story. That's right. That story is going to be crystal clear. You don't have to worry about having your message being all over the place anymore. We have the dynamic team that's going to ensure you have hands-on information so you can live your best life with the story that you've been having inside of you for so long. We want to make sure you get it out. The other thing is, if you've accomplished your things on your vision boards, you know what? It's time for you to increase more activities, add more items to your vision board. Guys, we already know we have gratitude every Tuesdays in this space. Every Tuesday we focus on gratitude. And we already have this long list of everything that we're so grateful for. And with the things that we want and the things that we desire, we know as we're growing and as we're evolving, now we start shifting that over to the gratitude list as well. So, guys, right now, I
Not right
want
now.
you to up your ask. I need you to up your ask, guys, where you are. No more playing it simple and no more playing it comfortable, guys. We already know 2022 is going to be audacious goals. And with those audacious goals, we've already been able to accomplish reaching so many of them so far. And I'm very proud of you all. You know, some of our activities have been a part of waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's about your routines, taking care of yourself. Guys, I have like my big bottle of water right here. Yes. You know, in addition to that, we want to make sure you're getting the proper rest. So when we say let's go, it's like how fast, okay? How fast?
How
I would say,
fast?
Malika Star,
Wait,
how
Renee, you would
fast? It's
say keep your bags packed, right? It's
keep your
like
bags
boom,
packed.
boom,
That's right.
boom.
Keep all your
Next month
documents
is
current.
right.
Keep all your documentation current. I know what's going to be taking place after we finish up with this segment here. We're going to be making a transition into our real estate segment. And I'll tell you guys, give you like a little bit of a sneak peek. We have some of the amazing lady gurus that's laying down the foundation when it comes down to real estate. I absolutely love one of our beauties. Well, you know what? I enjoy and I love our entire family. Let me just say that. We
Absolutely.
have some brilliant minds that's with us from the men as well as the women. And you guys, soon you're going to be seeing some of our GW3 teens that's going to be rolling out as well. And again, they're brilliant also. But the ladies that's coming up to talk about real estate last week, we had the one and the only, our mayor, Lolita Anderson. And my goodness, what a powerful segment.
That was a
Yes, she
powerful
came in
segment.
with the entire community, right, Malika?
She brought her powerhouse team. They
Yes, she
spoke
did.
about investing and just options that you really don't hear about on the outward circuit, when it comes to real estate. And I'm really excited about who the next guest is coming up. I mean, she's a powerhouse in her own right. 30 years in the game. Like, I'm like, girl, you don't
Yes,
even look like
yes.
you look like you're about 30. When did you
I
start in
know.
kindergarten?
I think you all sleep upside down like bats because you all
Like,
do not age at all. You all are like they say, fine wine, it gets better with time. I'm telling you guys, grace and just taking care of yourself has truly been
it really
something that's
does.
very
It pays
important,
off.
so it really shows. But not only are we going to be talking about real estate, how many of you all really wanted to get into real estate but didn't have the right mentor? How many of you guys wanted to learn more about that whole real estate game, but didn't even know the questions to even ask? Guys, I know I was one of those girls. You would see so many people doing real estate, but then when you went over to one group, it was like maybe it just wasn't the right one. Well, guys, we're going to change that. That's right. We are going to change that. Whatever questions you had, regarding real estate, not understanding how to even get into real estate, or even understanding some of the inventory and the products, we're going to make sure you have clarity. When it comes
That's
down to being an author, when it comes down to publishing your books, when it comes down to having your message, we're going to make sure we have that covered for you as well. That's what's so great about the GW3 Club. We are not only a club that supports you with your vision and your mission, and even if you don't have it, we help you to create it. And then we give you the proper resources, we give you the right mentors to continue on helping you to evolve into your better version of yourself. That's so beautiful within itself, guys. So please, let's put some more blue hearts in the chat. I am so loving this conversation. Here we are, Business After Dark with the GW3 Global Club, and it's all about right now, we're talking about writing. We're talking about reading. We're talking about real life experiences by becoming an author with the one and the only, our very own Malika Starr. And beautiful, I'm just enjoying everything that you've been able to, provide information to. I know when you push it forward, we could really see that book. Push it forward because sometimes you go push it forward. Let's see you push it forward. Yeah. Malika Starr, now that I know better, hold on, let's keep it right there. Let's shine a spotlight on it. Look at that beautiful picture, guys. Now that I know better, let's definitely put some hearts in the chat for our very own Malika Starr, the author within herself. And not only that, she's willing to use her gifts so she can give you exactly what you desire as well as an author. Guys, that's powerful. That is so, so powerful. And where we are, guys, Malika, why don't you give us some words of wisdom? Words of wisdom as we're closing out this segment here.
number one, start journaling. Like, you hear it all the time, but really, writing is therapy. Number one. Number two, sometimes you may have a thought, and if you don't write it down, you'll lose it. So that's what journaling does. Keep a notebook. Even for Mother's Day, my kids gave me a little tiny notebook that I could keep. Here it is. It's a little tiny notebook that I could keep right there. See, she gave me that. My daughter gave me a little tiny notebook. It's something I could put in my purse. Keep a pen in the holes right there. And then if you have a thought, then you just jot it down. And then you can always come back and it can always be edited. Number two, Make time to write. Life will bring you all kinds of twists and turns, but if you're not determined and disciplined to sit down and write, you'll always talk about, I'm writing a book. Well, I want to write a book. Well, if you want to write a book, carve out a time. I know next year, Renee, coming up, we're going to do your write your book in a week retreat. We're putting the details together now that we're going to launch in 2023. Where you'll be able to get away and write your book. However, in the meantime, take an hour, take 2 hours. If you work a full-time job, go take an hour your lunch break. Instead of getting on social media, just sit down and write your thoughts out. And then we can always transcribe them later and type them up later. But that is it right there. Be intentional about your time. If you have writer's block, pray. Let the words come from the Holy Ghost, honey. That's what I did. I let my thoughts be filtered in. So those are the three things I would tell you to do. Number one, write a journal or keep a notebook next to you, right? Number two, be intentional about your time and make sure you're carving out time for yourself. And number three, if you don't know what to say, pray. Let the Holy Spirit speak to you. Write the thoughts that you hear. Also, we also have someone to help you tell your story. And so Renee will set up those strategy calls so you can always plug back in with the GW3 to find out how you can better tell your story. But in the meantime, that's something you can do yourself. And if you don't have paragraphs, write poems. That's what I did when I first started writing. I just used to write a poem. If I had an emotion that was bottled up, I would just put it in poetry form. And so I have a whole book of poems as well that I'll probably publish this year since I have them. But that's it. So just
I love it. Oh my goodness. I love it, Malika. Guys, let's go ahead on and put some stars, because this is Malika's star right now. Let's put the blue heart and then the stars in the chat, because you have been such a beautiful blessing with with not only your information but also your tips and just being transparent as well. And that's what it's truly about. I know for sure our next guest, we're so looking forward to having her right here
yes.
with the GW3 family as well. We actually had the opportunity of traveling all the way to Africa together. And my goodness, she keeps getting better with time. But before we bring our beauty up, what we're going to do, not only we're going to say thank you so very much, Malika Starr. Guys, make sure you follow Malika Starr. You have her information right there. And one of the greatest things you want to do, guys, in this time, in this season, let's build stronger relationships. Let's
Absolutely.
create masterpieces together. And don't do it 3 or 4 years from now. Let's start creating this right now, as soon as we get off the line, okay? So what we'll do, we'll watch these videos, and then we'll be bringing up our very next guest to talk about real estate, the one and the only, Miss Stephanie Kennedy. Thank you so very much, Malika Starr. You have
Thank you
been
for having me.
my host. Thank you. We are back. Oh my goodness, we are back. And not only we're back, we're so grateful to be here for this Winning Wednesday. This is all about business life lessons after dark. And you heard from the amazing Miss Malika Starr. Well, guys, our next beauty, as I shared with you earlier, we have been able to travel the globe together, impacting the lives of women as well as young students and young girls in Africa, Zanzibar, Tanzania. In addition to that, we're looking so forward to blazing the cities of New Orleans, as well as some of the other great destinations. Without further ado, the amazing, the business entrepreneur, the catalyst, that's what I call her, the catalyst of getting things done when it comes down to business. And one of the greatest things she knows about that real estate, the one and only Miss Stephanie Kennedy. Oh my goodness, beauty. How are you doing? Hello. I think you're on mute, Angel. I want to unmute you. I want to hear that voice over there.
There we go. Am I off?
You're on. Hey, gorgeous. How are you?
Hey, beautiful. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, great, great. Oh my goodness. You keep on, you must have lost like another 15, 20 pounds over there. Every time I see you, you look greater and greater. Okay.
Oh, God. Thank you so much. Listen, I'm just trying to be like you, girl. You keep us so inspired. You keep us so on point. I've been under the weather and busy, but listen, I tap in and tune in, and you keep us on point. So we are always striving to get better and better under your leadership.
Oh, I appreciate that. I truly, truly do. Well, I'm so excited about you as well as all the great nuggets that you all are going to be talking about for real estate. Girl, you know what I'm going to do? Not only are we going to invite your guest up as well, Miss Maria. Oh, she's another one of those drop the mic moments. I had the opportunity of meeting Maria, of course, right here in the clubhouse, but in person, we met right there in Miami with the 10X ladies. And my goodness, what a gem. And she's right there in New York City, which I look forward to seeing her again come June 1st when we head over there. So without further ado, our second beauty that knows all of that information, knowing how to drop the mic when it comes down to real estate, as well as just being a true role model to women everywhere. The lady herself, Miss Maria. What's up, girl? How are you?
Hello, I got my blue. I got my
I know
blue.
you look
Ah,
beautiful. Oh
I
my
got mine
God.
on too.
Yes.
hi,
I love it. I
Stephanie.
love it.
Hi, Maria. How are you?
Fantastic, fantastic. We're
Awesome.
great.
It's good to
Yes, yes,
see
yes.
you.
Oh, so lovely.
I love it. I love it. Well, you know, Stephanie, this is really not my sweet spot, as they would say. This is not my swagger. So I want to learn during this time. And I know for sure, bringing you two together, you guys are not only going to help us learn more about real estate, but you're going to really, we're going to make sure afterwards as well that we have anyone that may want to ask you questions. We want to make sure we do that as well. How about that? How does that sound?
That sounds great. I'm here for it all.
I
Mhm.
love it. Without further ado, the ladies of real estate, Miss Stephanie Kennedy and Miss Maria Lindahl. I'm going to exit out here, stage left.
Oh, poof.
Okay, Maria, it's you and I. So let's get going.
Yeah,
So
let's do this.
let's just kind of make this a conversation to enlighten our viewers about, just the real estate market, anything general. But there's so many rumors going on right now in reference to real estate that I think it would be a great time for us to, clear up some of the misconceptions
Mhm.
about conceptions about what's going on in the real estate market, and just share some great information, because with information and knowledge, then it takes a little bit of the scare out of it, because people are really on edge about real
Yeah,
estate right now, and they really don't have a reason to be, because our market is not on the verge of a crash or anything like that. And the experts have a great forecast in the future for our industry. So, yeah,
yeah. So they say, what do they say? They say if you're focusing on the past, you're depressed, and if you're focusing on the future, you're anxious, and if you're focusing on now, you're in the present. And so that's how I talk to people about real estate. Like, okay, so in the past, there were lines out the door waiting for someone to come see your house at an open house. And the past was like, I don't know, now still. I don't know. They're talking like those lines are done with, and I'm still experiencing lines at open houses. I'm on Nassau County, Long Island.
Okay.
I do business in the five boroughs as well. So it's a little different, two different markets. So I'm going to talk mostly about the Long Island market. There are
Okay.
still lines around the corner, and so because the rates went up a little bit. I mean, I say a little bit, they went up quite quickly, but they're still low. I mean, if you think about 2001, they were 7%. Back in 2005, I think they were like still over 7.5. COVID, I lost sense of time, but we're
Right.
still at about a 5%, which
But listen, back in the 80s, interest rates were 16 and 17%.
I tell you, my parents bought in 1979 and their interest rate was 16.5%. I know because
Exactly.
when my mom passed away, sadly, I looked at, she had her mortgage paperwork. I was blown away by that. I'm like, look, I have proof what it was in 1979.
And here in our real estate market in Atlanta as well, um, just a little bit of background about myself. I am the broker owner of Weichert Realtors Prestige Partners. So I have a real estate brokerage, and I've been in real estate full time for 22 years.
Ooh,
Um, yeah, so a long time, and I've been an entrepreneur for like 30 years, and so that's all I know is entrepreneurship and sales and marketing and real estate. I don't know a lot of things, but I know about real estate, right? So, so I'm in the market every day. I study the real estate market. I study the trends. I sit on the board of our local, I sit on committees in our local realtor association, our local realtist association. I'm the our North Atlanta Broker Council president. I'm forever in leadership summits and informationals about real estate. We just had an event here in Atlanta where I brought our broker council. We brought Brian Eisenhower. If you're familiar with him, he is a real estate expert and coach out of California. And we had an event, and Brian came here as our keynote speaker, and talked about nothing but real estate, what's going on in the industry, trends and things that agents should be doing, to move their businesses forward. And our market is very strong. We have a strong real estate market, and
mhm,
our rates are going up due to what? Inflation.
right.
So how do you gauge the inflation increase, right? So a very simple way to gauge the inflation increase is to consider how much did you pay for a bag of groceries this time last year?
Right.
Today, that same bag of groceries that you bought for $100 this year is probably $125 to $130.
I'm just thinking that. Yep.
Yeah. So inflation is increasing. And so when inflation increases, what happens? Everything has to increase because we have to balance out the inflation rise, right? So, yes, our interest rates are going up a little bit, but it's not to worry because they're still at a historic all-time low, right?
Right.
And so, due to that reason, I mean, we don't have anything to worry about, but we have to be ever so conscious about how we are um, buying and how we're selling. And we want to educate our consumers so they're not so worried, and let them know you really don't have anything to worry about.
Right, right. So I'm going to jump in if I may. My background, I started out in life after I graduated college as a math teacher. So I majored in mathematics. I have a master's in mathematics. I taught middle school students high school math for 13 years. Somewhere along the line, I decided I was bored in the summer, so I got my real estate license. I was like, I got to do something over the summer, and I thought I wanted to be a real estate attorney. So I said, oh, let me try this out and see how much I really like that part of it. So in 1999, I got my real estate license, and it turned into, now I too am a broker owner, but I don't own a franchise. I own not it's called Next Level Real Estate, because it's all about the next level. It's what Renee is all about, right? Taking life to
Exactly.
the
We
next
got
level.
licensed in the same year. I got my license
I
in
know you said 22
December
years.
1999.
That's why I said that. I was like, woo, we got a lot
Yeah.
in common. So yes, I have 16, I have 2 offices, 16 agents that I'm always training. And I'm actually mentoring them in a sense where don't fall into the dialogue that is being adopted. This is not doom and gloom. It's still a great time. People need to move. They're getting married, or they're having more babies, or they want to leave mom and dad's house and want to buy their own home. Like, great things are happening to people. On the flip side, sad things are happening. People are passing away and they need to sell. So there's always going to be that movement. And
Always.
we need to educate our buyers and sellers, not by you. So I don't really listen to the news, because they don't talk about the Long Island market. They talk general. So when you talk about the Long Island market, or you talk about your market, any market, and you bring in the numbers and you do the math, and then numbers are either 2 + 2 is 4, 1 + 3 is 4. You might do 50% down here, 5% down there, but you're more
You're a
than
lady. Listen, Maria, you're a lady after my own heart, because same thing here. I don't watch the news. I don't listen to what's going on, because it incites fear.
right.
And they just give us small portions of the story. They don't give us the whole big picture.
Right, but
You know,
you and I, knowing what we know about our business and our industry in our market, we can educate our agents as broker owners. We can educate, who will then educate our customers and clients, and let them know, don't live in the future. You'll get anxious. You won't move. We all have potential. It's fear that paralyzes us. So stop. Let's get the fear out of here. Let's talk of reality. And here we are. And this is what's going on here and now in your backyard. And so you and I can then help people better and help them feel more relaxed. And buying a house or selling a house, well, buying a house is exciting. You're moving in, it's new, it's your next level. You're selling your home. Yes, you're revisiting your memories in the form of what's in the boxes you haven't looked at in 5 years, and you look at that picture and you're like, oh. So try to make it the best thing, because even though you're selling, you're buying something else, or you're moving into something else. And so that's
exactly.
exciting. That feeling of just the next level has got to be like amazing.
It is. It is. And so that's why platforms like this, where we can tell the story, right?
Right.
And we can control the conversation and give
Right.
consumers like real raw advice with no actual intention. Because here we may be speaking to somebody in our market, or we may not. We're speaking to people on a global level, right?
Yep.
And so on a global level, and talking about real estate and the sales of it and what's going on right now, I mean, it's a great time to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Because like you were saying, there's always that circle. People are always going to upgrade, downsize. They're going to relocate. They're going
Mhm.
to invest. They're going to
Yep.
move for school, for work, and all these different reasons. But no fear. Guess what, guys? People are going to always need somewhere to live,
Yep. Amen.
right?
Hmm.
So don't not buy a house because you're scared that the prices are too high. It's a seller's market. Yes, it is a seller's market, but the increase in the interest rates going to stabilize. It's going to help to stabilize our market a little bit,
Hmm.
you know. But what if you wait? Today interest rates are 5%. By the end of the year, they may be 7%. So
Yep.
if you wait, what happens? You're going to decrease your affordability. So that house that you could buy today for $400,000 or $500,000, you're going to have a decrease in that price. Is going to take your spending opportunity down because the interest rates are going to rise, which means your payments are going to rise, which is going to be a difference, right?
Or,
or
you're going to buy less of a home
and
in
that's what's going to happen.
less condition. So because the math teacher, right? Principal equals mortgage equals principal plus interest plus taxes and insurance.
Right.
So if I had a whiteboard right now, I'd do my whole algebra lesson with you, and your principal is what you borrow. Your interest is what it is. Your taxes are somewhat you can choose, and your insurances are going up also, right?
And your taxes.
Yep. So taxes are going up, but in Long Island we grieve them, so that's a good thing. So what happens is if your taxes go up, we need to take away. I'm sorry, your interest goes up. You need to take away from something, which is the principal, which is what you borrow.
Right.
So you keep your mortgage amount where you're comfortable. So that means you're buying less, either quality or less of a size of a house, because it's like this.
It's going to be compromised.
Correct. Thank you. Good word. Good word.
Your housing choices are going to be compromised.
Right.
When there's an increase in your interest rate, the valuation of what your affordability goes down.
Right.
And so you're not going to be able to have access to the same housing, prices and the same house that you could prior to that increase. So don't be afraid. Don't be fearful about the market.
You're scared.
Real estate is here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
No, it's not going anywhere. And so you want to be encouraged to buy, sell, and invest at all times. I know that last week they talked about investing in real estate, and I heard it was great. I hate that I missed it. I so wish I was here. I love the mayor. She's amazing, amazing, amazing. She's here in my Atlanta market, and she's so awesome. So I know she did a great job. So far as being a real estate agent, let's talk about that a little bit, Maria, as well, because we're both broker owners. And so let's talk to our real estate agents that maybe are looking to scale, or those that are thinking about getting into a career in real estate, right? So what kind of advice would you like to share on that note about, becoming an agent, or if you are an agent and you want to scale? Let's just share some words of wisdom with our viewers about, being in our industry.
Well, in the form of being an agent, scaling I am definitely an advocate of having a coach. I am a coach for my agents. So we do one-to-ones. We schedule them. And as I grow, how many people there are, I might have to hire a manager. But right now I'm doing it all because I am a teacher first. But I do think it's important to have someone hold you accountable, whomever it is. It could be a coach you hire, your manager, a fellow agent, and then just stay committed to growth. What you listen to is what accidentally or on purpose comes out of your mouth. So be sure that you're feeding yourself positive information, not just positive information, positive attitudes, as well as knowledge of your market. Know how many homes are on the market in your area. Know the difference between a $500,000 house and a $300,000 house, or two $500,000 houses, and the size and in the area. So just really know your market. Don't repeat. I tell my agents, don't repeat what you hear. Don't sound like everybody else. Stand out. Be knowledgeable. So as far as that goes, that's my opinion on that. And if you're thinking of becoming a realtor, know that takes commitment. You're not clocking in, and no one's telling you to prospect, and no one's telling you to role play, and no one's telling you to do anything. You have to know that being a realtor, the checks don't just come in when you close. It takes time to close. And on Long Island, we have attorneys that are involved. So we have an acceptable offer. We have a home inspector. There's so many players, and just have relationships with all these players in your in your transaction. It's very important. So just get familiar with the different roles that are involved in you getting that paycheck. And just know that it takes commitment. Hour of power, take an hour of prospecting. Whether it's your favorite time of the day is morning, do it in the morning. If it's at night and you feel more powerful at night, do it at night. It just, you have to be committed to growing your business because you're your own business within a business. Is that
Exactly.
right? How do you feel about that?
And success in this industry, like in any industry, it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
It takes time. I know that $1 million listing and selling Sunset and
Oh.
selling Tampa and ladies who list in Atlanta. I mean, I know all those shows make real estate look so much fun and so glamorous. And you just think that you can become a real estate agent and you're going to drive around in a Rolls Royce and put on high heels and show house $1 million listings. Sorry to tell you that it's not the case.
Yeah, you might have to go into a crawl space to make sure of
You
something.
may have to crawl into a crawl space, not go into it, crawl into one. You know, you never know. But it is doable, but you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
And everything that Maria was saying was true, but you have to make sure that if you're already in real estate and you need to scale, hire a coach or get an accountability partner in your office if they offer any kind of coaching, and getting really systematic on leveling up and going to the next level. It's really going to be important because that accountability piece, you're going to have to make a shift in what you're already doing to get to the next level.
Yep.
Right. And so we were just in a book club leadership meeting when we read the book Atomic Habits, right? Where creating habits lead to big results.
Yep.
And so systematizing
Mm-hmm.
and scaling is really important.
Yep.
Having a system is a way of success, right? And so it's going to be really important that you have that to scale in your business. So there's so many different things that you can do to do that. But coaching is one of the best things because with all the greats have coaches. Michael Jordan, Venus and Serena Williams, Shaquille O'Neal, Tiger Woods, Beyonce, Jay-Z, anybody you can think of who is at the top of their industry and their business, they have a coach. They have someone who is pushing them and driving them and making them repeat, running the same plays, doing the same steps, waking up early, going to bed late. To go from ordinary to extraordinary, it's a big jump. Yeah. Because you have to be willing to do the things that ordinary people are not willing to do, which is get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and organize your day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To put in prospecting, to make 100 calls a day. How are you going to get new business? How are you going to go from 1 transaction a month to 3 a month? You're going to have to implement new processes into your daily habits to create some amazing results, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and then if you are looking to get into the business, right? What does that look like for you? And so for me, I do career seminars where I share information with potential new real estate agents and professionals who want to come into the business. And just share information. So the first thing you want to find out what's really going on. You want to go to a career seminar and find out, like, what does the day-to-day activities look like in real estate? How much money can you actually make as a real estate professional, right? What kind of companies are out here? What type of training can I get? What does your broker supposed to offer you? What is your broker supposed to do? Why are you supposed to go to a broker? What is that all about?
Right.
So knowledge is power. So get as much knowledge as you can to make an educated decision on your next steps.
Yep.
And then from there, the sky's the limit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So find a great mentor, find a great company, get as much information as you can, and listen to professionals like Maria and I, because we know we've been in this business for 22 years and we've been around the block a couple times.
So you were saying something that I think it could really relate to any industry. I sent, I'm not sure if you could see that. Well, oh, that was almost there, but okay. So
I see that. Did you send that to me?
I'm gonna send it to you. I think it's so beautiful. Systems, and this is any industry, but we're talking about real estate. But systems create behaviors, which become habits, which drive outcomes, and it's a circle. So
Right.
systems create behaviors, become habits, drive outcomes. So let's a system in place, and then once you develop those habits, it's you don't even think about it anymore. You ever just you're driving somewhere and you're on the highway and you're driving, you're in the middle lane, and then the next thing you know, you're like, oh, how did I get to the left lane? You ever do that? Because
Yes.
habit, you looked already. You didn't think, but I'm like, wait, I changed lanes, I guess. Because you're on automatic pilot, and I happen to be driving and giving
Autopilot.
it. No, yeah, autopilot. Sorry, English is my second language. Did I tell you that?
No, you didn't.
I was
What's your
born
first
in
name?
Italy. Italian.
Oh, I love Italy. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, so I think in Italian, and sometimes I don't translate well. It's kind of weird,
Speak
but
in Italian and then speak it. Speak your Italian English.
entangling. Yeah, that's what happens. I used to have a complex about speaking, and that's the other thing. When you're a new realtor, and I tell all this to my new realtors. When you're a new realtor, um, you're concerned that you don't know enough of the language of real estate, and so you're afraid to make that phone call and prospect. And I'm like, you know more than you think you do. Just get on the phone and talk to people. They just want a person on the other line, on the other end. They don't want someone who is
They
robotic,
don't, they don't want an encyclopedia.
right? So just forget the language, forget the barriers, get out of your way. Pick up the phone, knock on some doors, talk to people, and it's just people. Real estate sales is a person to person job work. I don't want to call it a job. You saw how I stopped myself? It's not a job. You're helping people buy their greatest investment. You're helping people sell their lifelong memories that are in within walls, encapsulated in walls, where every corner of my home reminds me of something. Like I remember when my kids were sliding across the wood during COVID, they were just, that's there's such a human factor to what we're doing. And when
Yeah.
we take that out of our business, it shouldn't be about the paycheck. It should be about the humans whose life you are changing and growing for them and helping them and removing the fear for them. It's just such a poetic position I feel that I'm in when I'm talking to people that it's just it just makes me feel so sentimental when I talk to my clients and their children are now 10 feet taller than me. And I'm like, how'd you do that so fast? I don't feel like I'm aging, but wait, you've been in that house that long? Like, what
I
happened?
know, right?
I
Because
love
people buy people before they buy product and service.
Yeah. And if you love them, they'll love you back. And I mean, there are some families whose homes I've been in like maybe three-quarters of their family because I helped them get there and because they know it's about them and the relationship I have with them. And one of my clients who became my best friend says, for years I was going to her parties and she goes, "This is Maria. She came with the house. She's my realtor." And I'm like, "Can you start telling people I'm your friend?"
Right. Can I be your friend now? I mean, I'm far beyond your realtor. I'm like permanent. I'm a permanent place in your life.
Yeah.
Right.
I
I
warn
love
people
that.
too, though. I don't go away. You're stuck with me.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Exactly.
I know I went off track and I apologize. I just got in my emotions, and when I do that, I lose track of where I'm at.
But you know what? It's real. And these are real life, things that happen in business
Yeah.
because you do. I've met and have some of the best relationships with customers and clients because you become a part of their lives
Yeah.
through the transaction. It goes beyond, like you said, it goes beyond just the check. Because when you're transitioning in a family, when you sell a young couple their first home,
Mm-hmm.
right after they're married and they buy their starter home, and then you keep in touch with them for 5 years, and then they have the baby, they invite you to the baby shower,
Yeah.
and then they invite you to the baby's first birthday,
Yep.
and and as you go through life, and then they call you and say, oh, we need a bigger house, we're having another baby, and you're like, oh, then you sell that house, and then you have to go through all these moving parts, and then you see that new life, and then you see them grow, and now you see the kids graduating from high school and going to college. I mean, those are lifelong relationships, and
Yeah.
I've been through those life cycles with so many clients.
Yeah. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, it's amazing. And so people ask you all the time, do you still do real estate? Are you still doing real estate? You don't do real estate.
Nope. I am real estate.
You become real estate.
Yup.
And
Hugging you right now.
I'm hugging you back. You become real estate, and real estate is a career, and it's a wonderful, amazing career. It allows us to have the freedom, the flexibility, the income, the stability to be at home moms, to raise our kids, to send them to college, to if we're, to do whatever needs to happen.
Yep.
We have that opportunity because of the great, great industry called real estate.
Yep. And
You
I'm
can
good.
make much money. You'll never reach a ceiling cap. You don't
Mm-mm.
have to break through that glass ceiling.
Mm-mm.
It's possible. All you have to do is work a little harder, study a little longer, and you can achieve so many goals. And I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
That's okay. I have one word while you were talking that was coming to mind. Real estate in one word is, for me, about building relationships. So relationship is the word that, when I talk to people about it, I'm like, listen, I want a relationship with you. I don't want to just sell you a house. I want to sell you a home, and I want to know you're happy there. I also don't want to sell you a house that you're. So I had a difficult divorce, and it put me financially in terrible distress. But that was quite an education. I We keep saying things don't happen to you; they happen for you. So I learned a lot about foreclosures from the other side of the table. Thankfully, I didn't lose my home. I'm in it still. Yay. Um, but because of all of that, I'm very, very tight on working the numbers for people. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not selling you a house and then you can't go on vacation or buy the shoes. I always throw in the shoes. Like, if you can't buy the shoes, I can't sell you that house. We need to buy a house where you can buy the shoes, or you could go on vacation, or you can go to dinner with your husband or wife or cousin or aunt or whatever. Um, you have to have a good quality of life after you buy a home from me.
Right.
And so that's very important to me. And then I'll tell them, here, and I work the formula, and I teach my agents the formula. You need to know, we're not looking to sell you a home and then you're going to go into foreclosure, and then you can't go out to dinner one night a week. I just don't want that for people. It's not a comfortable place to be. And so with that, we build the relationship. We talk about why maybe you don't have to buy the house with the brand new kitchen. You can save for it, but let's buy you a home, because at the end of the day, real estate goes one direction, up. Whether you're spending 40,000 over ask, 80,000 over ask, and the rates go from 5 to 5.25, you still are building equity regardless of all that noise about rates going up. I shouldn't buy. Rates going up. I can't now. I got to wait till they come back down. By
Right.
then, you lost all that time building equity.
Right.
If you think about it, the amount of increase in equity, can you really save that kind of money? No, but you are by
Girl,
paying
never.
more.
You could never. The equity
No,
that you build in real estate, how can you save that kind of money? Because generally, we
not
just don't
savers.
have that kind of discipline to save that money and that compound interest that you
Yup.
get off of paying your monthly payment and then the appreciation going up and then your balance going down. I mean, I've never seen in the years that I've been in this industry people selling houses and walking away with so much cash money.
Wow, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, walking away with hundreds and thousands of dollars in cash. People who just bought houses 2 years ago are walking away with $100,000 plus in equity in their pocket, walking away from the closing tables with that kind of money in
Yeah.
just 2 years. You couldn't save $100,000 in 2 years. You can't save $100,000 in 10 years almost.
That's why I tell people, don't listen to the noise. Here's what's going on in our market. Here's what's going on right here, right now. And let's talk about the benefits. And you look at the schedule, the amortized schedule, and you look at all that, and you check out the numbers, and you talk about all of this, and then buyers are no longer afraid. And if I may, I just want to go into the advantages for buyers right now with the rate going up. I know that sounds like ridiculous, but I don't know how it was going on with you, with people with an FHA buyer with a lower down payment. I feel like now those people are having a better shot because sellers are thinking, okay, well, I better hurry up and sell and not be so snobbish about my down payment. Well, my point to sellers was always, it doesn't matter if you're getting 96.5% from a bank or 96.5% from a person, you're still getting the extra 90, whatever. It's all coming to you regardless at closing. So it doesn't matter what portion they're going to finance. So I feel like even for buyers with a lower down payment who are FHA buyers are having a better shot now because people are being less picky about their terms. Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, because and I talk about this on a regular basis with real estate agents, whether it's in a professional environment or it's just in our office meetings or a coaching session about this whole thing with sellers not wanting to accept FHA loans. That's all inflicted by real estate agents. And if there's agents on here, I want you guys to stop it because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Stop it. It's bad. It's bad etiquette. It's bad for our industry. It's not good because at the end of the day, a FHA loan is going to close.
Yep.
Right? It's going to close. All these appraisal gaps and these appraisal, you guys don't want an appraisal contingency and you want buyers to pay over and not have, it's just, we have turned this whole market into a whole mess because consumers are not that savvy. All of this has been inflicted by real estate agents.
But I'm
When
also
we go to closing, it's cash. It doesn't matter if it's FHA, conventional, whatever. If it's a loan, when it goes into your seller's account, when it goes to the closing attorney, it goes in as cash. When it leaves out and is dispersed to everyone, it's dispersed as cash. It's not dispersed as an FHA loan or a conventional loan. It's dispersed as cash. So people are like, cash is king. Yeah, all cash has contingencies. Even if it's a cash buyer, they're even sometimes a little harder to work with because they're scrutinizing that money a little harder because they know they have leverage.
Yeah. The other thing is a VA loan. I'm like, our veterans deserve a shot, even if they have the right to put 0% down. Like I'll say like we need earnest money to sign a contract.
Of course.
So take that at the end of the day, apply that towards your closing costs because they have to pay their closing costs, right? I think they should not have any closing, but that's just me. I love my veterans. But VA loans, so it's an FHA loan, which is okay. Let's just do this. Let's help our veterans buy. Why? Because they're putting just 10, 20,000 at contract and then applying it to closing costs. Like, they're still risking ten to $20,000 if it doesn't happen. Like, let's give our veterans a shot. I mean, come on. So me, whenever anything crosses our table, we're like, okay, I'm happy to help our veteran, no problem. Like, I don't know, I just feel like, sellers should be educated with respect to different types of loans and why they are given the way they are, or to who they give it. Everybody should have, regardless of the down payment. I think actually
But
their
really,
sellers aren't getting cash at closing; they're getting a check anyway.
but Maria, I mean, in all honesty, consumers don't know the difference between a VA, a FHA, or a conventional.
No,
And
that's
any bad stigma that they have about a loan, it comes from us as real estate professionals giving our clients advice on you should take this loan for this reason, or you shouldn't take that loan for that reason, because consumers aren't savvy about loan types.
yeah. I never tell someone they should or shouldn't take a loan. Um, I always like to say, this is what it is, and then they make the decision themselves. I try to let them look at it, and then of course I'm going to answer questions as they are asked. But I think, all as long as you qualify for a loan and the lender says, hey, they're good to go. I've run their numbers. Their DTI is this, and they could. There's only certain number of things they can tell you if they're not your buyer client. I let them know I'm the listing agent, in most cases, and I'll say, listen, I'm the listing agent. I'm just verifying that you did all your homework and blah 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 and all the great stuff. But listen, if someone qualifies for a home, then give them a chance, please. All right.
So, also, what type of strategies are you using, or are you teaching and coaching your agents? Excuse me, teaching and coaching your agents to use to navigate to win offers in this market, because it's not very easy. Like you said, even in Atlanta, the agents were having open houses, we're having 25, 30, 40 people showing up. Agents are writing offers, and the agents on the other side are either receiving 30, 40 offers on houses that are pristine, everybody wants. Our agents in house on listings, we're getting 15, 20 offers on properties. And so in this time, excuse me, I really need some water. I was sick, a little sick last week, and so I'm getting
I was gonna give you some.
like, where's my water, right? I'm like, I'm gonna have to get some water in a second, guys, because I'm like about to choke out. So, but what are some strategies that you've been, sharing, or have you been seeing agents using to win offers?
Okay, so you're talking. I'm a buyer's agent, and
Say, for instance, you're a buyer's agent,
Right.
or on the flip side, like, what do you look, if you're a listing agent, like, what are you looking for when you are getting 15, 20 offers? What kind of offers are you looking for? And what's your or what is your thought process when you're figuring out, like, giving these offers to your clients and then letting them look, because they get overwhelmed, right? And so we have to make some kind of recommendation, because someone sits 15 offers in front of you and say, pick one. You're like, there's no way that they can do it without your help. So either one you want to deliver, you deliver, and then I'll deliver on the other one. So if you want to deliver from the listing side or the buyer side, you choose, and then I'll pick the opposite.
Okay, so I'll start with the listing side. When you have 20 offers at one time,
Right.
you have to really dig into the integrity of the offer. I've had several occasions, some like hypothetical numbers. House is asking 450,000, and I'll get a $540,000 offer, 90,000 over ask. You have to really look at the integrity of it. So the first thing I do is, and I tell my agents to do, is take all the offers, pile them up one on top of the other. I like to speak to the agent first for each offer. I also go back. After I do that, I'll call the lender that issued the pre-approval. I separate offers with pre-approval, offers without pre-approval. The ones with the pre-approval take precedence because you're ready. You're even more ready than this person, so I'm going to put you over here, and then later I'll ask you for your pre-approval. So the ones that are prepared, they kind of take precedence over the others. Now, you call the agent for each of them, you ask them questions, and then you call the lender for each of them. How much homework have you done? How qualified are they? And we do our due diligence that way. I cannot tell you how many times, well, more than a handful, I've heard agents say, well, we just figured we'd give you a high offer, and then we'll figure it out when the appraisal comes in. I was like, what?
That's a great strategy, right?
I was like, after I heard it the first time, I'm like, now that's it. Now I'm going to dig deep. So I don't like that game. So I kind of put that on the low integrity pile, right? And then you're like, then when you talk to the lender, he'll tell you more or she'll tell you more of a story. So it's really about conversations. I also do we have a thing here, you can present or cannot present. And if you cannot present to the homeowner, there's usually a letter on file saying homeowner doesn't want to listen to any offers outside of their agent. Okay, no problem. But if I can present, I do ask for a conference call with the seller and the agent. And I like to present my own offers because I know my client and I know my terms and I know my lender and because I've spoken to everybody. But the seller and the agent they don't know. So who hear it better than from me?
Right.
So I do like to present my own offers. I think that's a win-win for everyone. The agent, no burden. The listing agent doesn't have to deal with it. So anyway, I just jumped from one side to the other, didn't I?
No, you said on that side, and then I'll do the other side. You did good. You did good.
I went on both. I apologize. I lose track.
Listen, it's great information because we all have our own perspective of that. So it's good to hear like the yin and the yang. So guess what? When I need a yang, I'm going to be calling you because I'll be the yin to your yang, and you could be.
Yes, we'll be doing yin yangs.
You can do that whole thing.
Oh, I'm so happy. I get to come to Atlanta and see two of my friends.
Yes, definitely. I can't wait. And I'll be coming to New York soon, New York, New Jersey area pretty soon.
Yeah.
Probably in June. So on the buyer side and create, transform says knowing a good stager is also great when it comes to showcasing your listing in its best light. And that is very true. So thank you for that. We really appreciate your input. Having a great stager is good when you have a listing and it's not looking great and you take that listing and you stage it. I mean, the house is going to sell for highest and best. Usually, it can go 10, 15% over asking when it's staged properly.
Yep.
And then, so from the buyer side, some of the things that are great tools and ways to get to get your offer accepted. Number one is to make sure you're writing a strong offer. Mm-hmm. Making sure that you're doing a price trends analysis or a CMA prior to writing the offer, so you know that the house is that you're offering the right amount. Mm-hmm. Because if you're writing an offer on a house and on a comp same scenario, $450,000, right, listed, you have to do a CMA prior to submitting the offer. Do not allow your agent to submit an offer on your behalf on a house because you picked a number out the sky. You want the house and you said, I'll pay $500,000 for the house. But you're approved for $450,000. You have down payment money and everything you need to close on a house for $450,000. The house does not appraise the agent doesn't do a market analysis to check your pricing, right? number one. So now you put an offer on a house at $500,000 and had your agent done their due diligence and represented the buyer properly, right? They would have known that the house, the other three houses in the neighborhood that sold for 425,000. Number one, the house was overpriced, and then number two, is definitely overpriced at 500,000. Now you're stuck. So you always want to do, agents always want to do a market analysis on the house. And then number two, you want to make sure that it's done right, and you're writing a strong offer. Because like you said, that whole thing of, oh, we're going to figure it out when we get there, that's crazy. Who does that? Right? Who does that? It's just ridiculous. And so we don't want to create that kind of havoc. So writing a strong offer, knowing what you know from your nose to your toes pertaining to that offer. So due diligence days, your due diligence days, your financing contingencies. Sometimes your buyers are in a position where they can negate your financing contingencies, and you have $100,000 sitting in the bank, and you want the house bad enough that you're going to say, I'll go 50,000 over asking, and I'll pay that 50,000 out of my pocket.
Right.
So writing strong offers, having your pre-approval letters. And nowadays, lenders are not just doing pre-approvals, they're doing approvals.
Yep.
And the only thing you need is an appraisal
and an address.
That's it. All you need is an appraisal. They're just waiting on an appraisal. Right. And so talking and working with your lenders and knowing and having your clients fully approved, right? And then having that letter, that approval, and then having a letter, adding a letter to your offer as an attachment so that you know that it's been reviewed, right? Cover letter as an addendum to your offer. Mm-hmm. And lay out the terms, dear Mr. and Mrs. Seller, please see our highest and best offer. We're relocating here from, Washington, D.C. This home is beautiful for our family. We are willing to pay, your full asking price and up to, $25,000 over asking, or we're going to do an escalation clause up to this amount of money. We want to make sure that your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, that you're submitting not just the 1% of earnest money. Maybe if you can, maybe you present 2% of earnest money or 1.5% of earnest money. 1% is usually just a standard, but just writing the best offers that you can. And don't write offers on blind, don't write blind offers. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm just going to write this offer on this house because my clients, we can't get in there to see it. Don't write blind offers. It's not good. Don't allow your agents to write blind offers for you, and agents don't write blind offers. It's not a good process. It's not a professional, and it's not a good process. We have to control our industry. Yeah. If we want our industry to be better, we can't complain. We have to control the scenarios in our industry, right? Mm-hmm. The way we work with our peers. We have to work with honesty and integrity. We have to have core values. We have to treat one another with respect, to keep our level of excellence above in our industry, because I hear a lot of complaints and I see a lot of bad things going on in our industry, and I don't like it. And so I have to lead by example because I am a leader in the industry and a real estate expert. I have to be the change I want to see in this industry. And so I have to be committed to excellence, right? And I have to hold my peers accountable to excellence as well. Mm-hmm. And so when I see things I don't like and aren't acceptable, I speak out on it. Because if I don't, then I can't expect to see a change. And I can't expect for anything to happen if I'm not willing to stand up for what I believe in and what our industry is about.
Right. And it's about the people that we serve, and we have to make it about that. And I think that's the most important thing. People feel that. They definitely feel your heart when you're working with them. So that's important. I think integrity is super important, not just in real estate, in life. My top three: faith, family, and integrity, and nothing's going to change that. So I am very sure that you'll lose a customer or a client if they don't feel like you're there for them. And like I said, it's not about the paycheck. It's about the relationships, and it's about the excitement of new paint on a wall, or oh my gosh, I'm moving somewhere different. And I always try to create, like, I'll grab their phone and I'll just like take a picture. Here, give me your phone. And they're like, what? Give me your phone. Give me your phone.
Yes.
Funny, and it's fun, and we always have fun, and then we do Facebook Lives, and we just have so much fun. I can't tell you the coolest things I've seen, some creepy but really cool stuff I've seen in houses that I was showing. So great. One house, I'll tell you a funny story, and then you could tell me one of yours. I have actually a few, but one, oh gosh, which, well, I was gonna tell you about the dolls in the attic. So I went to a house I was showing. There was a few dolls in this attic. It was very dark and very, very webby. And I love attics and basements. I'm very weird like that. And so I wear heels. I'm like, don't let the heels fool you. They're like my sneakers. Don't worry about it. There was a little tiny doll like this in a little tiny, a little bit bigger of a high chair. And she looked dirty and like she had a tear.
Oh my God.
Then there was another doll looking at her, and it was a little boy doll, and he looked dirty, almost like a movie of like abused children or something. It was creepy. And I'm like, she's crying, and he's looking at her. And my friend's like, I got to get out of here. So notice I said my friend, right? It's my client, became a friend. So weird. A Freudian slip right there. And I'm like, she's like, we got to get out of here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I took a picture. I did a Facebook Live. All my friends were like, get out of that attic now.
That would have been me. I would have been gone. As soon as I saw the dirty doll looking with the tear, I'd have been out of there.
I will
I'm
find
not
that.
the person who's going to get stabbed in the scary movie. I'm gone.
No. Happened. Hi,
You
Renee.
guys have been having such a great time. Oh my goodness. Hey.
You're back.
You know, there's the chats have been blowing up. Oh my goodness. Okay. You all have just truly been bringing so much value to this real estate segment. And I want to say, you all have the greatest chemistry. Miss Stephanie Maria, I love it. I absolutely love it. Absolutely. I'm looking at some of these comments over here. Carlene, all the way from Canada, she says, knowing a good stager, she's like, if you guys need a good stager, here I am. Because you have to do the sales of these homes and everything like that. That is something that's going to help you guys to also make that transition and showcasing property. Is that correct, Miss Stephanie and Maria? Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Miss Malika Starr is like, this information is great. Oh my goodness. And then we also have a couple other ladies, I see Miss Linnell Burns put all types of hearts and stars in the chat for you all. Oh my goodness, guys. If you all, and Miss Davina, I see Miss Davina, and she's like, you guys are stunning. We are loving this information. So you realize this is something that truly have not only helped these, everyone that's tuning in. I would love for us to do even a deeper dive, Stephanie, as well as Maria. How about this? Within some of the rooms that we have within the clubhouse, let's focus on how we can do more of these, interactions, because just like how they blew up the chat, we'll have even more connections there with over 15,000 of our members with the GW3 Club. So how about you guys work on creating something that's so powerful, it's going to blow our tops off, so therefore we can learn this real estate game. How does that sound for you all?
Sounds good. I'm for it. We're here for it all.
Well, Stephanie, I would love for everyone alongside with Maria, you all provide them with the information. You provide them with your information, how they can stay in contact with you. And how they can also follow you on your social media, and then words of wisdom. I'm going to go with Maria, and then Stephanie, I would love for you to close us out. Okay, Maria, take it away, beauty.
Okay, well, so you can find me on Instagram. I have an interesting name. It's Love Summer, spelled LUVSMR, because I love summer. My company is Next Level Real Estate. We're in Long Island, New York, and you can reach out if you need anything or any kind of advice, or use me as a resource. I'm here for you. Words of wisdom. Um, Well, I was gonna coin my thing. It's all about the next level. You got to keep moving, and that you could apply that to homeownership. You could apply that to growth. You could apply that to everything Global Women Warriors is about. So yeah, it's all about the next level. Keep moving, keep growing, keep doing, and keep shining.
Awesome. That was so great, Maria. It was so wonderful to meet you here today. You're a superstar. You are definitely a superstar, and we will definitely need to stay connected.
Yep.
Let's see here. My words of wisdom are, oh, no. Okay. So my contact. So Stephanie Kennedy. My Instagram is Stephanie D. Kennedy. Okay. Instagram, Stephanie D. Kennedy is my Instagram. On LinkedIn, I am Stephanie Kennedy. My company is Weichert, Weichert, Realtors Prestige Partners. We're located in Atlanta, Georgia. My number is 404-596-8051. If you're interested in whatever it is, if you want information about becoming a real estate agent, if you're interested in what that looks like, if you're interested in having a mentor, and you're in the industry, you want someone who's going to hold you accountable and give you some mentoring, you can reach out to me about that. We have over 500 offices nationwide. And so if you have some real estate needs, call me and I can refer you to one of our affiliate brokers in your area. We have, offices in your local market, I'm sure. I also, have international relationships, working with buyers, sellers, investors. So pretty much everything related to real estate, all things real estate and entrepreneurship. Um, Hit me up and let's chat about it. You can text me, email me at Stephanie. Oh, no, not Stephanie. Sorry. S Kennedy at WRprestige.com. S Kennedy, Kennedy, at WR William Robert Prestige.com. And then some words of wisdom. Well, listen, guys, we all have the ability to create our own lives. It's just a matter of what is it that you want to create. Whatever it is, you have the power within to do so. Don't worry about what happened yesterday, because you cannot get to your destiny looking behind you. If you are moving forward and your destiny is in front of you, how can you get there? You're looking back at what happened yesterday. You can't. You're going to have a train wreck.
Yep.
Okay. So do not worry about it. Don't worry about anything that happened in the past, because your destiny is in front of you. The step between ordinary and extraordinary is a big jump. Be that person. Be the person you want to see move, move, move. As long as you move your feet, your opportunity will never cease you. And your universe, whatever your belief system is, it will meet you there. You just have to have faith and move forward. That's it for me. I yield my mic. Thank you, Renee, my beautiful, beautiful queen. We love you so much. You do so much for us, Renee. I have to give you your flowers as always. You are such a wonderful leader. You pour so much into us. You provide platforms and opportunities for us to share our knowledge base and our information. I am here. Whatever you call on me, I am here. I'm a part of GW3. I know I've been busy and I'm distant, but whenever you need me, I'm here. I'm always going to show up because, like you say, I'm going to show up no matter what. And when I show up, I'm going to represent. I love you and all that you do. Everything that you stand for is absolutely outstanding. And I applaud you for all your efforts and your unrelentless, I mean, unrelentless drive and ambition to help others live at 100% of their true selves. And so I just love you. I love my sisters and brothers in GW3, and we appreciate you so much.
So much.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I need to. You're right. That's my group hug. I appreciate you both. Love you too, Stephanie. Love you guys to pieces. Okay, to pieces. And the greatest part about it, this is all so real. This is not anything we have to make up because this is who we are. And we want to keep on allowing each and every last one of us to continue on blazing the universe in our greatness. I love you all conversation. And you know what, Stephanie, as well as Maria, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys sooner than later. So thank you again. And my goodness, keep up the great work of impacting lives, especially those ladies. But I think right now you have more men tuning into you all because you guys were dropping the mic on some information today. Yes. So thank you guys. We love you. Continue being pillars in the community. And you are the game changers that the world needs to see. So, guys, again, we are so grateful to have this whole real estate hour. You learn from the experts, but this is not over. No, no, no. Business After Dark, we've just begun almost. It seems as if we've had, because you know why? It's all about relationships. We're so grateful to have the man himself, Pastor Jeff, alongside with some of our other GW3 warriors that's going to share the conversation. Because we talked about real life experiences. This was our real estate segment. Now we're going to go right into relationships. Again, ladies, thank you all for joining us. We'll be right back after we watch this amazing video. Bye for now, guys. Yes.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Welcome back to GW3 Business After Dark. And my goodness, it has been an amazing opportunity of learning so much information from this Wednesday's program. And as I share with you guys, we've just got started. Our next up, we're going to be talking about relationships, and what better person to bring about relationships. Not only does he talk about relationships on Fridays with the men, but it's time for us to do that deeper dive with the ladies. The man himself, he is known as not only the clubhouse king of reset, he's also co-host of the Voices talk show. In addition to that, he is the founder of Inspired. Oh my goodness, his website is incredible. He's an author. I mean, there's so many great things about Pastor Jeff, but one of the most important things about Pastor Jeff, he's a dear friend, and it's an opportunity for us to shine a spotlight on this giant here. Ladies and gentlemen, we bring up Pastor Jeff. Woo! Yes! Did I do it right, Pastor Jeff? I can't hear you, Pastor Jeff. You look great over there, Pastor Jeff.
You did well. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Well, thank you. I'm always honored to be in the company of great people.
Yes. Oh, Pastor Jeff. This Wednesday, I don't even know. We woke up at 5 a.m. and lo and behold, I looked back, it was like 5:30. The time went by just like that. And here it is in our last hour, and we're talking about relationships. Pastor Jeff, it's a perfect, not only is it a perfect opportunity for us to learn from the King himself when it comes down to relationships, but Pastor Jeff, this is your sweet spot. You not only, you help the men talk about the whole mindset, as well as you focus on, the matrimony side and maximizing results. But this night on Wednesdays, we shine a spotlight on the ladies, Pastor Jeff. Oh my goodness. Last week, it definitely was a treat. You had the amazing, my cousin, Miss Yvette Searson, as she was dropping so much knowledge about that mindset. And I understand this week, you also have a very intriguing conversation that you're going to be doing. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Renee.
Ooh, I cannot wait. But before we get started, how about this? Let's bring up those amazing beauties that you're going to be interviewing, because one of the greatest things we have within the GW3 Club, we have ladies and men, and even now, Jeff, Pastor Jeff, we're going to have our teens that are going to be pouring in conversations with us as well. But we're going to shine the spotlight on some of the married couples, all right? And when I say
Absolutely.
married couples, some of the married ladies, especially for this particular segment, the one and the only Miss Janet Alvarado. Now, her story, Jeff, is so amazing. Her and her husband, they were like high school love sweethearts. They grew up together. They've been knowing each other for years, since they were 18 years old. And as it stands right now, they lost touch with each other for over 10 years to find themselves back in bliss. And they have been married now for more than 24 years.
That's a
I
beautiful love
just
story.
absolutely love that. And I look forward to seeing Miss Janet Alvarado this weekend in Las Vegas. Without further ado, the one and only Miss Janet Alvarado.
Hello,
Woo! Hey,
Janet.
cutie.
Hello, Pastor Jeff. Thank you, Queen Renee. Oh my goodness, relationships. So important to have great, healthy relationships, especially when you're married and have children. I want to have a beautiful family and create a beautiful environment for my family.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know what? I cannot wait for you guys to continue on with this conversation. But one of the other beauties that we're going to be bringing up to the stage, she's another one of those great ladies that's soaring. The industry just finished speaking alongside with Les Brown himself. She has been married for more than 30 years. Her husband is originally from Nigeria, and they met, guys. They met at a nightclub at love at first sight. That's right, love at first sight. And from that point onward, after a year and about half of maybe 16 months, they decided to not only to get married, they wanted to stay committed for the rest of their lives. So we like to bring the one and the only Miss Tracy Aramomi. I hope I pronounced that last name right, but if not, you're going to correct me. There she is, Tracy.
You pronounce it correctly. Thank you so much, Renee, for having me. Pastor Jeff, hello.
Tracy. How are you, Tracy?
Yes.
I'm doing outstanding, Pastor Jeff. How are you?
If we were doing any better, we'd be in heaven.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And hello,
I
Janet.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, I know we're going to get into a really deep dive conversation here. Not only are we going to get into a deep dive conversation, Jeff, I want you to set the tone for us. And while you're doing that, I want you to also kind of like give us a little bit more insight of why it's important for us to really hold on to these relationships in especially right now after we've been able to go through COVID. I'm going to give you the spotlight, my friend. Take it away.
Thank you, Renee. Well, relationships are so important because it sets the tone for all areas of life. Our relationships romantically, our relationships with family, our relationship with friends, co-workers. And so when we understand the dynamics of relationship, it makes us happier people. We get along better. When we're happier, we have better health. And when we have better health, we actually live longer. And so, one of the things we like to bring to your attention, if you didn't know, it was WebMD, that's WebMD.com, did a survey and they found that married men actually live longer than single men. They also found that married women live longer than single women. Now, you can go to MedMD yourself and look at the statistics of why. And I actually believe that it's because of a theory that my friend Dr. Caxton O'Perry presents, and that is that marriage is a health decision. Yeah, let me say that one more time. His theory is that marriage is a health decision. Now, if you considered marriage as being a health decision, go ahead and put 55555 in the comments. Put 5555 if you've ever considered marriage to be a health decision. But I want to tell you, my friends, whether you consider it or not, it absolutely is, because a marriage or a relationship that is toxic, it interferes with the mindset. And when it interferes with the mindset, that interferes with the health and the condition of the body. And that will cause us to die prematurely. But tonight, what we want to do, we want to start off a little bit slow in relationships as we talk with the ladies. And we're going to begin with the idea of emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. It is a topic that is hot in the recent years. And the question is, do men or women have the higher emotional intelligence? And how, if it is the men who have less, how do we get men in touch with their emotional intelligence? So we're going to define what emotional intelligence is, and then we're going to talk with our ladies who are married and see what they say, if they're willing to talk about emotional intelligence as it relates to those who they've dated as well as their husbands. And so, beginning, emotional intelligence has four parts: it's self awareness, it's managing our emotions, empathy, and social skill. So, that is going to be the foundation, the groundwork for our definition of emotional intelligence. I'm sure some ladies have their own idea of what it is, but for tonight's segment, and so that we have consistency, emotional intelligence has four parts: that is self awareness, managing our emotions, empathy, and social skills. So let's bring the ladies up and see what they have to say about, is it women who are more emotionally intelligent? Is it men? And how do we foster men becoming more aware of what emotional intelligence is? So, Janice, what do you say about men, women, emotional intelligence? First of all, who do you believe? And when we say who do you believe, there's no right or wrong answer. So, who do you believe has the higher level of emotional intelligence, men or women, and why?
Thank you, Pastor Jeff. For me, I feel like it depends on the person, really, because a lot of men have they're connected with their emotions and they share their emotions. You have a lot of men who are closed off and they don't want to talk too much about what they're feeling, because a lot of times, they grew up. Don't be a crybaby, these thinking thinking, I say, a man has to be a certain way. You can't show emotion, and I feel that's incorrect. So it depends on the person, woman or man.
All right, depends on the person. Now, what has been your experience?
Now, for me, I am so blessed to have a husband who does, we talk, and we talk about big feelings. For having a bad day, we talk about our day. For feeling a certain way, we talk about it. If he made me feel a certain way or I made him feel a certain way, we nip it in the bud. we don't stack those negative emotions,
Mhm.
because when you start stacking up those negative emotions, it starts creating resistance within a relationship. I've seen it done when we first started, when we got back together, and I started kind of not being closed off, but not saying how I felt at the time. And so, and he didn't mean to make a comment or kind of like not give me a hug when I went to go get one or whatever. We didn't nip it in the bud, and as we grow together, we learn together, and it's blissful.
All right.
I That's what we want in a relationship, a healthy relationship. And you're right about the health part, that it keeps us younger. We're happier. When you're happy, everything around you, your family's happy. Don't get me wrong, times aren't happy all the time, but it's the majority of the time we are very happy, and we feel healthy and we feel strong in our relationship. And that trickles onto life in our relationships with our family and friends and society.
Now, being married for 20 plus years, how long did it take before you were able to come to the level of communication that you believe you and your husband share now?
Well, when we first started, it was all about the kids. Kids, and raising our children to be happy, productive children. And we did a great job. They're great children. They've gone on. Now we're empty nesters. So it's our time now. And I'm not saying that, back when we were raising kids, it wasn't blissful. It was, because we were always talking to each other as a family. Our children saw a healthy relationship in us, so in turn they have healthy relationships. And that's so important, that we showed our children a healthy relationship, that we respect each other as partners, because we didn't want our children to go out into the world and have unhealthy relationships. So it was so important that we taught them as an example of a healthy relationship. And but now our focus is mostly now on just me and him and what we're gonna do, and it's opened up a whole new kind of little world for both of us. We're just talking about the adventures we're gonna be taking pretty soon, and it's
All right.
exciting.
Well, before we talk about the adventures of being an empty nester, let's talk about the children so that may help those younger couples that find themselves with maybe two, three, or four children. How did having children affect the emotional intelligence and the communications? As we already know, women, for the most part, are nurturers. And just the fact that you carry that life inside of you on an average of 9 months, and you have that umbilical cord that's connected, and that baby is feeling your feelings and going through your emotions, and is actually birthed with part of that imprinted in their brain and wired in their brain. And we men, as I mean, the best of our emotional intelligence, we don't know what that feels like. We don't have that type of connection to the child. And so how did that play a role in your communicating? How did it play a role? Were there times that you felt that your husband just didn't get it? And if so, how did you overcome that?
So, Pastor Jeff, our story is a little well, I'm not saying it's different from a lot of stories, but um we met when we were kids, and we fell in love, but at that time it wasn't our time. We were too young at the time, and we separated. We moved on. He had to go back to school. They ended up moving to another state. So we lost touch for over 10 years. And that movie, The Notebook, I always we always say that's our story, because we lost touch. And I got into two relationships after that. One was really serious, but it ended up cheating. So that ended, and then I ended up being in another relationship, which was very toxic and abusive, and I've never experienced that in my life. So I kind of came from that toxic relationship, worked on myself, self-love, because if we don't love ourselves as mothers, as women, we can't attract the love back, that love that we deserve. So it was an adventure. It was a journey, I would say, to get where we are today. And I had a daughter from that, a blessing. I had a blessing from that toxic relationship. And we don't, things happen for us, not to us. So I see that now, and so that had to happen for me to be where I am today, and it was a blessing. But with my husband, then we had our son. We came back together, and I had a little daughter, and he accepted her and us like, oh my gosh, it just. She even looks like him. It's so funny. the way, and they love each other so much, and that's what you wanted, and that's what I wanted. When we had our son, I had him involved in everything I was feeling. The baby kick. I did not leave him out of the journey of having this child, and he would work, come home. I tell him everything, and it was a beautiful thing. And so he kind of, I wouldn't say felt it, but he knew emotionally. He felt it because we would lay there, and he would have his head on my tummy and talk to our son in my tummy, and so connection, that's so important. Family unity is so important. Showing love to each other and not keeping each other separated from any kind of big journey that we're going through. So it was amazing, and he understood, and he understood it all. I feel so. It was a healthy one.
Well, I want to ask this question again before we go to the empty nest syndrome and how that is playing out. You mentioned that you've gone through the bad, the ugly, and the good of relationship.
Yes.
If you were speaking to newly married men with a child, what advice would you give them as it relates to enhancing their emotional intelligence based off of your experiences?
Enhancing their emotional intelligence, patience. Be very patient. Know that child, especially if the father isn't in the picture. I don't want to call him donor, but the father isn't in the picture. That child doesn't know. And my daughter was a year old so she really didn't know her biological father. She met him later on in life, but all she knew is daddy now. And that's a hard one to talk about. It all depends on the woman and the situation. Because if the biological father is still in the picture, it could be easy or it could be hard, depending on that biological father's emotions. He can make it difficult for the new father to come into the picture and step up and be a role model to that child. Patience, definitely patience. I would recommend for the newly father coming into the scene with a mother that has children already, and acceptance.
Okay.
Just put yourself in that child's shoes. I would say to the dead, the new dead.
Well, thank you so much for that. And we're still going to get to the empty nesters, but we have Tracy. Tracy, we want to bring you into the conversation. And so I want to ask you right off the bat the same question that I asked Janet. And that is, what would you say to the young man who was newly married with one or two children and may not be in touch with his emotional intelligence? What advice would you give him as a woman?
Thank you, Pastor Jeff, for the question. That is a great question. I would say to him to remember what it felt like when he was a child. Put himself in the position of being a child himself. Because, a lot of times we don't think about how we were as children. We only think about how we are as adults, just being rigid and firm and, wanting to make sure that we're parenting our kids properly. But we also need to think about when we were children and how we felt as children. I think it's important to be empathetic towards your children and as well as sympathetic towards your children so that you can relate to them, because when you can relate to your children and think about how they feel and put yourself in their position, I think it makes for a better relationship.
Thank you. That's a very thought-provoking answer, Tracy. Now, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. What about that man who was abused as a child and did not have that male role model and did not see emotional intelligence displayed or modeled? And so he doesn't really understand what EI is at all. From your perspective of a woman, if you were going to assist him, where would you tell him to start?
From my perspective, I would just tell him to get around women, to surround himself with women who have children, surround himself with positive women, and see how they're modeling parenting their children so that he can take advice from those women and he can model how they're parenting their children. Get around positive women, get around, it could be women in your family. It could be women, that you work with. It could be women that you are close to in your life. Get around those women and get advice. Talk to those women about how they are raising their children in a positive manner. It's important to surround yourself with other people who are in the same position that you're in that can help to guide you and help mentor you.
Great answer. Now, I have another question. This is a personal question. As uh, a person who has, we will say, has a successful relationship, what does emotional intelligence look like to you, and how has it evolved from the beginning of your marriage to where it is now?
Wow, that's a good question, Pastor Jeff. You know, my husband and I are from two completely different cultural backgrounds. I was born in Florida. My husband was born in Nigeria. So coming from two different cultural backgrounds was a bit challenging in the beginning. His emotional intelligence was not exactly where my emotional intelligence was. And that was simply because of, the cultural differences. But he was actually pretty Americanized,
Okay.
which is one of the things that attracted me to him. A lot of people have stereotypes about Africans, and he didn't fit that stereotype. So as far as his emotional intelligence, although it wasn't on the same level as mine, it was pretty, encouraging. It was pretty encouraging.
All right. This question is inquiring men want to know from a woman's perspective. While we've had a definition that is, we're going to say, a clinical definition of emotional intelligence, Tracy, what does it mean to you for a man to be emotional intelligent? And what advice or tips would you give to a young man who is newly married that has no clue of what EI is?
So emotional intelligence to me is being present, being fully present, being aware of the woman that's in your life, being able to empathize, as I mentioned earlier, being able to empathize, being able to sympathize, and being able to put yourself in the woman's position. Because men are raised quite differently from women. They're raised to be strong. They're raised to be, not to show emotion, to be hard charging a lot of times. But I think it's so important to be able to be sensitive towards women, to be able to relate to women on an emotional level. Letting your hair down. It's okay to let your hair down. Let your hair down. Be the type of person that will be encouraging to women. For a newly married man, I think it's important to have great communication skills. Oftentimes men don't communicate as well as women a lot of times. So I think it's important to work on your communication skills. It's important to be able to make sure that you can relate to the woman or women in your life. It's so important to have those communication skills. And also, one thing I was told when I got married was, don't go to bed angry. Make sure whatever conflicts that you're having, make sure that you resolve those conflicts before you go to bed. Because even in the Bible, it says, don't let the sun set on your wrath, or something like that, which means don't go to bed angry. Resolve those conflicts before you go to bed so that you're not waking up angry.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Tracy. That is a topic that we will have to dive into at another segment, another show. We want to talk about uh, righteous, what do you want to call it? When we deal with, or how we deal with conflict and how we fight fair. So righteous fighting within the relationship, but that's going to be another conversation. I want to go to Janice quickly and ask Janice, as we talked about the um, empty nest syndrome. I'm going to come back to you, Tracy. You said some things. I want to talk about some words that you said. We can get some definitions. But Janice, when it comes to empty nesting, how does emotional intelligence play in now this relationship where the children are gone and there's more time for you and your husband to spend together?
Pastor Jeff, really quick, Tracy, that was awesome. You actually gave me an idea when you guys were talking about men, and what would you tell the men when they would come into a new relationship? And I wanted to add to that and say for the men to when you're going into a family environment, when you're creating a family, create the family you always dreamed of. Be the father that you always wanted to have, and be that. So I love that. Tracy, thank you so much for giving me that idea, actually. And for empty nesting, for us, as an emotional intelligence, it's just us two. So we're acting like we're teenagers all over again. Pastor Jeff. It's like it's funny, but um, and he's working all the time now. Recently, his job has him working 12-hour shifts every day for the last 2 weeks, and I'm missing him a lot. And at night we just have dinner, and it's like we gotta go to bed because he wakes up early in the morning, and so we don't have too much time for ourselves right now. But prior to that, it was like we were going out camping, we were doing fun things together, and I'm missing that for the last couple of weeks now.
It sounds like love that looks like infatuation, butterflies in the stomach.
You have to keep your relationships hot, sizzling. You can't let them fizzle out. You just think about when you first started dating and those feelings, just like you said, Pastor Jeff, those butterflies, those feelings, just looking at him sometimes and I think about when we were started dating again and the fun times we had. So I remember those first times, and we talk about it. Remember when? And remember we did this, and it just keeps it, alive. Still, it doesn't never dies. We got to remember the good times.
Now, you said something I think will perk up the men's ears, and you said keep it hot. Now, what does it mean to you? Yep, Pastor Jeff is going there. Pastor Jeff is going there. What does it mean to you to keep it hot
You have
after
to
20 years of marriage?
You have to keep it hot. Just like I said, remember when you first started dating and those emotions and just the emotions that you were feeling back then. And it's so important, especially when you've been together for so long. I'm not gonna say we've gone through stages where it's like, you have to have a healthy sex life. It's so important to do that, because and it keeps you young too. Really, it keeps
Say that again, please.
It's so true. It's health benefits for sure. Just because you're getting old doesn't mean you can't have fun anymore between the sheets.
Well, now before I go back to Tracy and look at some terms that she used, tell the men who have been married 20 years plus, how do they keep it hot? Because on Clubhouse on Fridays, the men chop it up, and we tell the ladies what inquiring women want to know. But tell the inquiring men that have been married over 20 years, how do they keep it hot?
Oh my goodness. You men, any men listening, you have to jump into the conversation on Fridays. It's amazing. Just sharing and getting the perspective from the men's side, because we have to understand each other. We have to know where the men are coming from, and they have to understand where we're coming from. And it has to be mutual understanding between the two to have a healthy relationship. If your energies don't line up, you either work at it or just, it's not going to work. So for the men to keep it hot, just remember how you felt when you first saw your significant other for the first time. Don't forget those butterfly feelings. Don't forget how she made you feel, how looking at her, what really attracted you to her, and kind of remind her about it. Because, just like I said, communication is key.
Yeah.
Put it out there to your significant other, what it was that you love about her, when she dresses up a certain way, when she wears a certain color, whatever it is, compliment her. And you know what? She'll start doing the same to you. It's just like I said, the energy is going back and forth. It's a dance, like a dance. And take her hand, and you guys are in the kitchen, in the living room, turn on some music and just start dancing like you used to when you were younger. Just out of the blue, surprise her with something fun, a simple grabbing her back and just turning her around. Even dipping her would be fun.
All right.
Make it fun.
Absolutely. And for the men who are listening, I hope that you're taking notes. And so while Janeth has shared what it would look like in her family, you have to ask that significant other that's with you. And with that, Tracy, we're going to come back to you. We're going to dig in a little bit deeper. You mentioned some terms when you were speaking before that I would like to revisit. You talked about empathy, you talked about sympathy, and you talked about sensitivity. Now, those are terms that typically research shows that women may have a better understanding of knowing what those are, differentiating between them, and expressing those physically. So, tell the men what is the difference between empathy from your perspective, sympathy, and what it means when a woman tells a man that she would like for him to be more sensitive.
Thank you, Pastor Jeff. When I say it's important to be empathetic towards your spouse, that just means it's important for you to be able to understand how she's feeling and don't blow off how she feels. Even if you don't understand or you don't agree with how she feels, show that empathy. Be empathetic towards her feelings. That is very, very important. And being sympathetic is very similar to being empathetic. Being sympathetic is showing that you understand her. You can relate to what she's saying. Because if your woman comes to you and tells you that you did something that was offensive to her or you offended her, and in your mind, you don't think that you did, it can be crushing if you don't empathize with her and see things from her point of view. Oftentimes you have to agree. Sometimes you have to agree to disagree, but just putting yourself in the other person's shoes.
It sounds like what you're saying.
Very important.
Sounds like what you're saying, Tracy, is that even if he does not understand what you've communicated to him, is for him not to dismiss it or demean it, but to validate that if that's your feeling, that's your feeling.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
That absolutely. Be empathetic, be sympathetic. Even if you don't understand or you don't agree, it's still important to recognize that person's feelings.
So the man can validate you without actually having experienced what you experienced. And that would be empathy. He can validate you by saying, that's not how I would feel, but I understand that's how you feel, and allow you to share that and validate that you have a right to feel that way.
Absolutely.
Whether he agrees with it or not.
Whether you agree with it or not, yes. Putting yourself in that other person's shoes. That is very, very important in a relationship.
And before we go to the next topic, you also talked about being sensitive. We hear this word as men a lot. So tell men and I'm going to come to Janeth and ask her the same question. So when a lady tells the man that you're insensitive, or I wish you were more sensitive, what is she really saying?
She is saying, I want you to understand how I feel. I want you to put yourself in my shoes. I want you to be understanding. I want you to be more compassionate. I want you to show compassion towards me. If it's something that is bothering me, I want you to show some sensitivity. I want you to show that you understand, because that's love. That shows that you love the person, you care for that person, and you understand how that person feels.
It also goes in line with being empathetic, sympathetic, sensitivity. They all go together.
They actually all a part of emotional intelligence, and that's what we've been talking about. Thank you, Tracy. Janet, same question.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Dr. Pastor, Pastor
Yes,
Jeff.
yes.
I want
I
to call
call it
you
Dr. Pastor. All of them.
doctor. But I agree with Tracy. Just like I said, also be patient and communicate with each other. Not blaming each other for not understanding me, or me not understanding why he's not more understanding my emotions, but just communication for sure, and having a serious grown up conversation. I would say, let's not act like children. Oh, you don't understand me? No, I don't understand you. Let's have a grown up conversation and talk about how we feel and how we can help each other too, because I don't want to feel this way and I don't want you to feel this way. Just go back and forth with each other. Find a nice place alone if you can do it. Have date night. Go talk at the park. Something where you're out of the house, out of the environment, so you're just focused on you two.
Ladies, since we are not born with the modeling and the tools that it takes to be able to express that emotional intelligence, I believe that it's important that we seek the proper type of counseling, coaching, so that we can be equipped. It's if you have an automobile and the check engine light comes on and you're not a mechanic, typically you'll take it to a mechanic and let them find out what that light means. And then you allow a mechanic to repair it because the mechanic has the proper tools to do it. And in a relationship, it's important that we are equipped with the proper tools so that we know how to communicate, so that we understand what empathy is. With that being said, the next topic I want to talk about is masculine energy from women and how men perceive it from your perspective. But would you ladies be kind enough to share with us an example for the men that are listening of a time where it was something that mattered to you, and this doesn't have to be your husband because we don't want to put them on the spot. We'll say maybe a relationship prior to your husband, to where a gentleman absolutely did not have empathy, sympathy, or sensitivity to something that was very meaningful to you. Would you mind sharing what that looked like and how it made you feel? We'll start with you, Janet.
Oh, go ahead, Tracy. Well, what came to my mind was when we first purchased our first house. We were looking and looking, and we were getting outbidded. We looked for 2 years, and this house came up on the market, and all we had to do was sign papers, and it'd be ours. But he was resistant because he didn't like the layout, the living room area with the kitchen. It just something that he didn't like. So I kind of masculine energy came out of me, kind of pushing him towards the purchase, that this was very important. And I was tired of looking for houses, and the house was fine. It was just like minor, what didn't matter, that it wasn't the best layout. And, I mean, after that, I kind of felt bad because, he wasn't that happy. It's not his dream house. But then I reinforced it, saying that this is just the beginning. You're going to get your dream house. We'll get your dream house. So that's what we've been working on. And that's our next adventure, Pastor Jeff, as an empty nester. We're going to build that dream house.
Well, thank you so much for sharing and being vulnerable. And transparent. And as we go to Tracy, just want to say to those who are listening, go ahead and put some nines in the comments if this conversation is helping you. If this conversation is helping you, put nines in the comment. And as well, if there are some subjects that you would like for us to talk about on this relationship hour, go ahead and put those in the comments as well. Tracy, same question for you. Would you share a time where something really mattered to you, but the gentleman just did not have empathy, sympathy, or sensitivity? What did that look like? What did that sound like? And how did it make you feel?
Great question, Pastor Jeff. So there was a time when um, I was dating a young man prior to meeting my husband, and you know, I grew up with a father who was very old school, very chivalrous. Very very chivalrous. He would open the door for my mom, and he would just wait on her hand and foot. And this particular young man sort of started out that way, doing those things, and all of a sudden, I guess he got too comfortable with me, and started taking me for granted. Which happens in a lot of relationships, and he stopped doing those things. You know, and that was a big problem for me, because how you start out is how you should finish. You don't just start doing something in the beginning, and then once you feel comfortable with the person, you stop. So that sort of took me aback. He started doing all these wonderful things, and then all of a sudden, when he got comfortable, those things stopped. He stopped opening the car door for me, and all those things, because they say that women look for men like their dad, and he started out being like my dad in the beginning. And then, when that stopped, that was a problem. So guys, how you start is how you should finish. If you start out doing certain things in the relationship, you need to continue to do those things in the relationship, especially if you know those things are important to your significant other, or the person that you're wanting to be your significant other.
Well, thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you so much, Janet, for again your vulnerability, for your transparency, and for sharing your own personal relationships and your advice for men and for women that are in new relationships, as well as those who may be seasoned in their relationships. So I'd like to move to the topic of female masculinity and masculine energy. Janet, you spoke to your situation with the house, and you exhibited, as from your words, yeah, too much masculine energy. And so I want to ask you, from your perspective, what would you, how do you describe a harmony of both masculine and female energy as exhibited within the relationship? And we'll start with you, Tracy, and then I'll chime in a little bit after the two of you share.
Masculine and feminine energy. So I guess I'll start with the female energy. With the female energy, I think it's important, for women to to be kind, be considerate, be nurturing, because we are nurturers by nature. With that masculine energy, sometimes that comes into play when when women want to feel powerful in their relationship. They want to feel that they have the same type of, for lack of a better word, power that the man has in the relationship. People say that relationships should be 50-50, but in all actuality, relationship should be 100%. Each person should give 100%. And sometimes that masculine energy and that female energy sometimes butt heads. And it's so important to have that balance, to strike that balance with those energies. And it's okay for men to have the female energy, the sensitivity that I mentioned earlier, the empathy, the sympathy. Those are oftentimes female traits, and it's okay for men to have those traits, to have that female energy. And it's also okay for women to have that masculine energy, but it just needs to be a balance. It's important to strike that balance.
Well, thank you, Tracy. We'll go now to Janice.
Well, Tracy, that's perfect and beautiful, because it's so true. We need to be 100% in our relationships, not 50-50, 100%. And you said that, men also, we both female and male have both traits, the masculine and feminine energies. And when, as women, especially during that time of month, we could get a little too feminine emotion, as in, we're more emotional during those times. And I always communicated that to my husband, and we kind of knew, I try to control my emotions, because I don't know, it's hard, women dealing with those things. But when your partner is in tune with you, it's amazing how things work out for the both of us. And as for him, it's kind of funny, because when I don't know, Tracy, if you and your husband go through this, like, when you do go through that stage, like, he feels it too, and he kind of gets emotional too. I don't know, because when I was pregnant, it seemed like he was pregnant too, because he had the same cravings as I did. So,
Yes.
it's the same
Yes.
thing. I guess because we've been together for so long, we're more in tune with our energy and our emotions.
Absolutely. Yes. It's so funny. When I was pregnant, I said, "Are you pregnant? Are you on your cycle? What's going on?" So I
Yes.
think he did feel a range of emotions during that time as well. Because you do have all these emotions. You don't know, what to expect. You have all this anticipation, and, you're both feeling a bit overwhelmed at times.
Yes.
Well, thank you so very much, ladies. I think you gave us another subject for a future segment, men, maturity, and menstrual. So we can talk about that. But I'd like to say this before we wrap this one up, and Renee comes back. As from a man's perspective, and I, as a pastor, I also go from a biblical perspective, and that's believing in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and believing that he created woman out of man, not from the dust that he created man from. Therefore, man and woman need each other because he took the rib and created the woman. Therefore, both men and women have both masculine and feminine energy. From a man's perspective, while Pastor Jeff can't speak for every man, there are some men that feel that when a woman exerts too much masculine energy, that it becomes a competition, it becomes a question of his competence, and it becomes a ineffective communication. Again, competition, ineffective competence, and miscommunication. And so what it communicates to the man is that he's not needed, he's not respected, he's not valued. And therefore, when too much masculine energy comes into play by one exhibited by a woman, it results in him not having a relationship purpose. And ladies, can I tell you, if a man doesn't have a relationship purpose, then he's not going to be participating very much in the relationship. With that, we want to bring the ladies back. Renee is back. We have had a wonderful conversation tonight. Renee, several topics for the future. I can't wait to talk about that men maturity and menstrual, because you know a lot of men need to hear from you ladies. Stop acting like a child when it's time to go and get the feminine products. Know what your woman uses, know when she needs them, and be in tune, be sensitive, have some empathy, have some sympathy, and hey, it might just pay off in the long run. You know, Renee, some people say happy wife, happy life. I like to say happy spouse, happy house.
Oh,
Pass it to you,
Oh, I
Renee.
love that.
that
Yes.
was really awesome. Oh my
I
goodness.
love
This
it.
segment here, Pastor Jeff, you know, the chats have been blowing up. I love when we talk about relationships. And the most important thing is it was really great hearing it from a perspective of all of you all because you're married. And that was just so, not only was it enlightenment that you guys poured into the conversation, but you know what? Some of the ladies are like, I can understand, there's some similarities as well. And you already know everyone is a work in progress. But as long as you have two partners that's willing to put in the work and show love and respect towards each other, I feel as if we'll have even better relationships. And the key with any and everything, truly indeed, is communication. And Pastor Jeff, you've truly mastered that this evening with such an amazing show today. Thank you, Janet. Oh my goodness, it was a joy seeing that Tracy here with us as well. And guys, let's go ahead on and give a round of applause to the man himself, the voice, Pastor Jeff. Come on now.
Woo! Thank you, Pastor Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're so proud of you. Guys, this concludes this evening. We are like, my God, this is like from real conversations to real estate and relationships. This has been an amazing night. It's been a full winning Wednesday, and now we have to bring it to an end. But I want to make sure everyone knows how to get in contact with each and every last one of you all. So please, Pastor Jeff, Janet, alongside with Tracy, let's make sure we communicate that with everyone. And Jeff, you can go first.
Thank you, Renee. I can be contacted with the URL that's on the screen at www.i-inspired.club. Just go ahead and contact us there, and we'll be glad to serve you any way we can, as it is my job. I inspire others to move from the mindset of a victim to the mind shift of a victor in whatever situation you find yourself in. Thank you, Renee.
Hello, I can be reached at tracy10k.com. That's tracy10.com. And also on Facebook, Instagram under Tracy Oriomi. And I want to leave this with you. Make sure that you are doing those things that you started doing in the beginning of your relationship. Don't stop. Keep doing those things. Keep adding spice to your relationship and have those date nights. It's so important to spend that one-on-one time together with your significant other. Take your relationship to the next level in 2022.
Amazing. You can reach me. My name is Janet Alvarado. Meet me at janethalvarado.com. I am a multi-passionate entrepreneur, growing and glowing and wanting to impact people's lives. One community at a time, starting here in my home in Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you received a lot of value. And just like Tracy said, don't forget that a relationship, create the relationship you've always dreamed of. Thank you so much.
Well, we want to say thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in to GW3 on tonight, where we've had real conversations about real life, where we've talked about real estate, and where we talk about relationships every Wednesday night. So we want you to make sure that you continue to tune in, invite some other friends to tune in as well. And remember, if there are topics that you would like for us to cover, go ahead and put them in the comments, and we will oblige you as we have the opportunity. Go ahead, Renee. We'll pass the mic to you.
Absolutely. Guys, we are so excited to not only be closing out this week with this amazing winning Wednesday business life lessons after dark, but definitely, as Pastor Jeff said, tune in to us next week. Make sure you save that clock, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until 9 p.m. We're going to be right back here providing you with not only information, education, hopefully information that's going to impact your life, so therefore you can also continue on winning in this season, because this is your season and you already know the universe is your playground. So let's go and flourish because it's our time. It is our time.
Our
Guys, tune
time.
into us. Yes, it's our time. Tune into us on tomorrow from 12 to 2. We'll be right back there in the clubhouse. And I cannot wait because it's all about beauty, health, and wellness. And we have some amazing tips brought to you by our health specialists, guys. But thank you again, Pastor Jeff. Thank you again, Tracy. Thank you again, Janet. And thank you again for each and every last one of you all that allowed us to come into your homes this evening. This has been GW3 Global Women Wealth Warriors, as well as the GW3 Club. We're signing out. Bye-bye for now.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Shalom.